We have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply. And, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
The teddy bear got its name from Teddy Roosevelt. During a hunting trip, a guide tied a bear to a tree for the president to shoot, but he refused, stating that it was unsportsmanlike. William Taft was a member of the secret Skull and Bones Society at Yale, which his father co-founded. Woodrow Wilson is the only president to have earned a PhD, and he didn't learn to read until he was 10 years old. Warren Harding drank during Prohibition, had extramarital affairs, and allegedly had a child out of wedlock with a woman who was 31 years his junior. Calvin Coolidge had a pet pygmy hippopotamus named Billy. While living with his uncle on a Native American reservation in Oklahoma, Herbert Hoover learned to make bows and arrows, but he never claimed to be a Cherokee.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
We are all going to die.
And we all joke about him destroying the world, but this could be it.
That means record heat, more drought in some places.
We could see the seas continue to rise.
Their kids will have worse asthma.
Torrential rains and floods in other places.
So we could see flooding in major cities.
They will have a harder time having economic.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
President who's dominating the headlines on the topic after he referred to some undocumented immigrants as animals.
There could be an MS-13 gang member I know about. If they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about them.
We have people coming into the country or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals.
Now it's starting to make some sense.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
And it is a very slippery slope when you start dehumanizing people this way. It's what the Nazis did. It's what slave owners did. It's not what Americans do.
Calling people animals is not a good thing.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I can't imagine anybody at this table is interested in the president's personal relationship with a porn star or anybody else. This is clearly an issue that the American people, unfortunately, it matters to them. It's not a personal, story of some cheap, disgusting affair the president might have had. Unfortunately, we have to talk about this because the president might be a danger.
Unchained and unstoppable.
As FDR once said, I welcome their hatred. I do. And, listen, when I covered Barack Obama, I was just as tough on him. I wanted to ask you about what some people are calling your best week ever.
Man, that's a tough one.
Who do you love? Howie Carr.
Are you favoring the government actually regulating the relationship between CEO pays and the average worker?
I think it's a very good idea, and I think we should start talking about it. I think, but I want to go further than that. I'd like to see shareholders say, wait a minute, what's going on with my dividend?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Another fiery introduction from Grace. Excellent. So many places that we could start there, but how about Representative Keith Ellison? We've joked for a long time. Anytime we talk about minimum wage and what a dumb idea that is and how it's actually going to hurt poor people, we joke about a maximum wage. But now, Representative Keith Ellison, who's one of the top officials in the Democrat National Committee, is actually seriously proposing a maximum wage on CEOs of publicly traded companies. Amazing. I look forward to them campaigning on that. But I think that today it's clear that the maximum wage isn't just going to be the only plank of their campaign. Yes, part of their campaign, they spent all of this week and some of last week essentially defending Hamas and saying that Israel was being too brutal to these Islamic terrorists who are using human shields, these terrorists who hide weapon stores in hospitals and schools. And then when the Israelis of the United States try to blow them up, they say that we're the savages because we're blowing up the schools. An entirely just like fabricated media display to try and turn the West against Israel, when in fact it was just terrorists trying to cross their border. So the media has been sympathizing with them. Israel is brutal. How dare they kill Hamas terrorists who are trying to cross the border? But now they're going even further. In addition to defending Hamas, liberals and on DC and in the media, they're now defending MS-13. This is where Trump derangement syndrome leads you. If you ever find yourself, thinking that Hamas and MS-13 are good people being unfairly attacked by Israel, the United States, or the president of the United States,
they're just a human being.
You might want to take a step back and say, man, my politics might be warped. As Jim Comey is known to say, perhaps your moral compass is askew. This is Steve Robinson, Howie Carr's executive producer, filling in for him. He's down in Texas at his daughter's graduation. We hope the weather is nice, and we hope they have a splendid time down there. Grace Curley is on the board, and we're going to talk in the 4 o'clock hour about how the Russia collusion investigation is dead, cold and lifeless. And the signs that we're seeing now, the leaks that we're seeing from the Department of Justice and the FBI to the New York Times, we've now moved into a new phase of this entire scandal. Heretofore, we were in the denial phase of this. It was deny. No, the president wasn't wiretapped. No, he wasn't wiretapped. Oh, how dare you say that the scandal-free Obama administration would ever engage in such conduct? So we were in the denial phase for a long time. But now, Inspector General Horowitz at the Justice Department has issued a draft of the report to some of the subjects mentioned in the report. And so they get a chance to review and maybe offer a rebuttal, and the report is revised again, and then it's publicized. It'll probably be somewhat redacted, but we'll have a general feel of the people involved. And there's some rumors on Twitter now that, yes, there will be some criminal referrals. Somebody actually might be held accountable for what they did in relation to the investigation of Hillary Clinton's email server, or I should say what they didn't do. So that report's coming out, and you got to get ahead of that. If you're at the Justice Department, if you're at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, if some really, really bad information is coming out about you, if it's going to make you look like, oh, you maybe broke the law, your next step is to leak to the New York Times. Big story yesterday. We talked about it a little bit, but we'll go over that in the 4 o'clock hour. But the first thing that I want to tackle is this epidemic of fake news that is taking social media and just, it's just one of the craziest things I've ever seen. It's such a, I guess it's a trait or maybe a trend of the Trump era that there's some little bit of fake news that goes around the world a million times. And there's just like, a handful of conservative bloggers standing there and saying, hey, wait a second, like, we just go back and look what he said? Will you have a little bit of context and maybe a charitable interpretation of what he said? But no, the ship has sailed. And Donald Trump, as you heard in the intro, is being accused of calling all immigrants animals. We'll look at some of these headlines here. Here's from NPR. During roundtable, Trump calls some unauthorized immigrants animals. From the New York Times, Trump calls some unauthorized immigrants animals in rant. Ooh, it was a rant. Here's John Harwood. Oh, well, we'll get into that. First, I want to play exactly what President Trump said. And this, again, is a roundtable. I believe they're out in California, and he's talking with these sheriffs. And a lot of them are basically, this one female sheriff is expressing her frustration that her hands are tied when it comes to prosecuting MS-13 gangsters. These real bad gangsters. That's what she's telling the President of the United States. And you'll hear his response.
Thank you. Why would there be an MS-13 gang member I know about? If they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about it.
Yeah. We have people coming into the country or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals. And we're taking them out of the country at a level and at a rate that's never happened before. And because of the weak laws, they come in fast. We get them, we release them, we get them again, we bring them out. It's crazy.
So clearly the context there is about MS-13. The sheriff asks about MS-13, which is an El Salvadorian gang. Very bad people, very nasty people. And his response is that these are very bad, nasty people. They are, quote, animals. Now, I know that the preferred nomenclature here at the Howie Carr Show, as per the captain, is savages, but I think animals works just as well. And you should see some of the media out here trying to attack him because he calls savage murderers animals. Here's Andrea Mitchell responding to Jerry Brown chirping President Trump. A tough takedown by the California governor after real Donald Trump calls people trying to get into the country animals, not people. The New York Times tweets, Trump lashed out at undocumented immigrants during a White House meeting, calling those trying to breach the country's borders animals. Here's Lawrence O'Donnell with a particularly thoughtful take. Trump, these aren't people, these are animals. He quoted him. No one would condemn these words more than Jesus Christ. Christians who don't condemn these words don't understand their own religion. Oh, Thank you, Lawrence O'Donnell. We appreciate you. Father O'Donnell, should I say. Here's from C-SPAN, okay? President Trump during Sanctuary Cities Roundtable. These aren't people, these are animals. Chuck Schumer. When all of our great-grandparents came to America, they weren't, quote, animals, and these people aren't either. Thank you, Chuck.
My great-grandparents were not MS-13.
Exactly.
I'm almost 100% sure.
You know what? I'm willing to bet. I'm not sure exactly when MS-13 started down in El Salvador, but I'm willing to bet that Chuck Schumer's great-grandparents also were not members of MS-13. Here's Chris Hayes. At a certain point, you run out of language strong enough to describe and condemn the president's bigotry. It's vile. Okay, so the charitable interpretation of the left-wing media reaction to this, the politicians' reaction to this, is that they got duped by the fake news, and they actually believe that President Trump called all immigrants animals, and that he wasn't using that word directly within the context of a response to a question about MS-13. But John Harwood from CNBC does not have an excuse. He tweets, however repugnant their actions, MS-13 gang members are human beings. In my honest opinion. Unbelievable. So here we are. This is where we are. President Trump has maddened these people so much. You know, the enforcement of our immigration laws has left these people so deranged that they're now defending MS-13. It's unbelievable. We'll get your reaction when we come back. 1-844-500-4242. Back after this.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
Nothing says love like a wonderful rosé or champagne for mom, and Liquor and More has just what you need. Avoid the long grocery lines and visit them in Plymouth, Bourne, South Dennis, South Yarmouth, and now open, Wellfleet. Go to their website at liquorandmore.com to see the variety.
Hey there, truth seekers. You want to know an easy way to find out if you're in one of New England's better lumber yards? You simply march yourself in and yell just as loud as you can. I want Matthews Brothers windows, and I want them now, please. If the nice person there says, certainly, kind sir or madam, kindly follow me, then you know you're in the right place. However, if they look at you kind of funny or nervously reach for their phone, then you better beat a hasty retreat back out to your car, bike, or horse and drive, pedal, or gallop just as fast as you possibly can while obeying all posted speed limits to the safety of a lumberyard that proudly yells right back at you, "Fear not, weary pilgrim, you're now entering Matthews Nation." It really is just that simple and only a little bit risky. You can find more information about our wicked awesome Maine-made products, but only at Better Lumberyards and Window Professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And we will much about that be committed. So there's no real conflict. Michael Druniak, including Lincoln himself, Daniel Day-Lewis. Behind Monica Lewinsky, the one and only Trey Songz is here. But Allison Lundergan Grimes, Gina Day Jesus, when Gina Day Jesus, Tea Party challenger Matt Bivens. People don't want to have their Social Security overall. The Republican savior, Mark Rubio's big night in evolution and Galileo. I mean, this whole thing of Galileo. America's changed. Unless IT and Skillets, President Putin doing something similar back in, it won't change this fundamental fact about the GOP. Just how absurd these attacks is.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
When the captain's away, Steve and Grace will play. It's the Howie Carr Show.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson filling in for the captain, and we're talking about the epidemic of fake news about Trump. The left-wing media says that Trump called all immigrants animals, when in fact, if you go back and you look at the cut, he's saying this in response to a question about MS-13. It's pretty clear that that's who he was referring to as MS-13. So if you want to call and get your reaction to this at 1-844-500-4242, that's the number you can call. You can also leave a message on the Trump line by calling that number and pressing 2. But I just wanted to review some stories about MS-13, and I'm just submitting this as evidence. We're trying the question of, are MS-13 gang members animals. And I'm going to submit the following into the record. MS-13 stabs man 100 times, beheads corpse, and rips out heart near Washington, D.C. Miguel Angel Lopez Abrego, 19, has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder after detectives received information it was committed by MS-13 members. Stabbed him 100 times, cut his head off, and ripped his heart out. Okay, that seems to be something that an animal would do. Let's see here. This one's out of New York. More than a dozen alleged MS-13 gang members are named in federal indictments, charging them with murder and other crimes in connection with the gruesome slayings of 7 people, including 2 teenage best friends, in the crime-plagued town of Brentwood. One of the girls' bodies was brutally beaten and found on a tree-lined street in Brentwood a day before her 16th birthday. A day later, her friend was discovered in the wooded backyard of a nearby home. Investigators had suspected the young girls, best friends with a passion for basketball, were victims of gang violence.
Steve, just on that note, can you imagine being the parent of someone who's a victim of MS-13? You must be going nuts listening to the media trying to defend these people. You must want to kill someone.
How about the mother and father who Trump invited to his State of the Union address, whose daughter was murdered by MS-13? How do you think they feel when they see Chris Hayes tweet out, as he has just done, this MS-13 nonsense has precisely the same structure as the racist drug war rhetoric of the crack years. Politicians would use wildly racist language to describe drug dealers, but if you were called on it, they would say, "Oh, so you're defending drug dealers." Yeah, Chris, I'm not buying the comparison. This is a murderous terrorist. I mean, I would say domestic terrorist organization. I mean, just imagine if Fox News hosts were out there saying, "Oh, well, I can't believe you're saying those nasty things about the Klan." Here's some more recent ones. Let's go to this. This is from yesterday, May 16th. Boston District Court, press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office. An MS-13 member pleaded guilty today in federal court in Boston to racketeering conspiracy. Jose Vasquez, a.k.a. Little Crazy, 24, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to conduct an enterprise, yada, 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 RICO. Vasquez was a member and local leader of the Tres Locos Salvarucho, or the TSL clique of MS-13. He personally participated in racketeering, and part of what he did was he was involved in the attempted murder of a suspected gang rival. The victim was stabbed multiple times, and he also helped conceal evidence of those murders. That all sounds like something an animal would do. So fortunately, I think we're kind of breaking through on this one. I think this is kind of backfired on the Democrats. It's backfired on the left-wing media. It's yet another example where they're working hard to earn the title of fake news. But Sarah Huckabee Sanders had one of the best owns that has ever happened in the White House briefing room today. Go ahead and roll the clip on that, Grace.
Because so many people in the country have been talking about it the last 24 hours. What did the president mean when he said that some immigrants are not people, they're animals?
The president was very clearly referring to MS-13 gang members who enter the country illegally and whose deportations are hamstrung by our laws. This is one of the most vicious and deadly gangs that operates by the motto of rape, control, and kill. If the media and liberals want to defend MS-13, they're more than welcome to. Frankly, I don't think the term that the president used was strong enough. MS-13 has done heinous acts. It took an animal to stab a man 100 times and decapitate him and rip his heart out. It took an animal to beat a woman they were sex trafficking with a bat 28 times, indenting part of her body. And it took an animal to kidnap, drug, and rape a 14-year-old Houston girl. Frankly, I think that the term animal doesn't go far enough, and I think that the president should continue to use his platform and everything he can do under the law to stop these types of horrible, horrible, disgusting people. I'm going to take...
Boom. Roasted. I don't even know who the reporter was that asked that question, but it was a dumb question. I'm glad it gave Sarah Huckabee Sanders the attempt to rebut that. By the way, did you see, Grace, that Sarah was recently, she was one of the top 10 most admired women in the country?
Yes.
That story came out.
And I think that is very accurate.
Well-deserved.
I definitely admire her. I admire how she does not reach across and hit people over the head with the microphone because she's dealing with a lot of boobs in that little room.
Yeah, and it's really amazing that she isn't celebrated by more feminist organizations. She's got a pretty tough job and she handles it with grace. So calling MS-13 animals bad. Calling the NRA a terrorist organization, good. That's per Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's told some magazine that she was getting an interview with. I guess is it Huffington Post? I didn't realize Huffington Post was a magazine. She says, quote, the NRA is kind of just shy of a terrorist organization. I have a feeling that she's not going to be condemned for her harsh rhetoric. We'll take a quick call here. Freddie, you're first on this with Steve filling in for Howie. Go ahead, Freddie.
Thanks, Steve. I like how liberals, the first person they turn to when they want to make a point is Jesus, somebody who they want to have nothing to do with except when they want to try to use and make a point. So let me just say that Jesus did call people animals at one point. He called the Pharisees offspring of vipers. So he has used that term.
You're right. You're right. That's a good point, Freddie. And it was Lawrence O'Donnell, that distinguished MSNBC host who is exhorting Christians to live up to their own standards and side with MS-13 terrorists. You know, I'm not a political consultant. I've never worked on a political campaign, but I think a combination of pushing the minimum wage, siding with Hamas and MS-13, and raising our taxes, I don't think that's a winning strategy. This is Steve Robinson filling in for Howie. We'll be back with Grace's News after this.
Ready to celebrate summer with a new car or truck? At Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC, we make it as easy as a day at the beach. With over 2,000 vehicles in stock and the lowest, most transparent pricing, you can see why Banks is New England's highest volume GM dealer. Enjoy the ease of summer with a friendly, no-pressure staff. With our full-service internet department, you can take care of the details before you even walk through the door. Right now, lease a 2018 GMC Sierra all-wheel drive double cab elevation edition for only $309 per month for 36 months. Current GM lessees take advantage of this great offer with up to $12,000 off or zero cash down. See dealer for details. Come see the difference at New England's highest volume GM dealer, Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC, just minutes away in Concord, New Hampshire. Check out all of this month's specials online at banksautos.com. GMC, we are professional grade. Real prices, huge inventory, always in stock.
That plan is a campaign to make America white again.
And is literally a love letter to white supremacists.
Effort to keep America white again.
When someone uses the phrase change migration, it is intentional, literally trying to demonize families and make it a racist slur. It is not.
They migrated to America in chains. And when you speak about chain migration, it hurts them personally.
The great divider who injects hatred between groups in America.
To continue to push extremist views on immigration.
Really a shameful practice of holding 800,000 children hostage.
We continue to hold each of those programs hostage.
And says whether you should hold these kids hostage.
When they took the Dreamers hostage, you knew you were going to have to pay a ransom.
She should have been in the same way, as opposed to just doing her job. Well, we know what happened in Europe when people just did their job.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap. But did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap. But did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
William Henry Harrison commissioned bottles of hard cider in the shape of log cabins as part of his presidential campaign. When James K. Polk was 17, he had surgery to remove gallstones without any anesthesia or antiseptic. Zachary Taylor died suddenly, and while the exact cause of his death is still disputed, some historians think it originated from eating cherries in iced milk. President Franklin Pierce, a Bowdoin guy, was arrested for running over an old woman with his horse. The charges were later dropped. Andrew Johnson was completely hammered at his vice presidential inauguration in 1865. Ulysses S. Grant once got a speeding ticket on his horse. He was fined $20. Rutherford B. Hayes signed the act that allowed women to plead cases before the Supreme Court, making it legal for women to practice in the court system. And they say Rutherford never did anything.
Celebrating 25 years on the air, this is the Howie Carr Show.
Steve Robinson filling in for Howie as he's down in Texas attending the graduation ceremony of one of his daughters. Hope there's great weather for him down there. Very, very little for him to complain about. That's what we want. We want very, very little for Howie to complain about. And hopefully he gets some chicken fried steak.
And some cookies.
Yes, cookies and chicken fried steak, and he'll be a happy boy when he comes back here on Monday.
Yes, I'm sure they'll have a great time. Texas is usually pretty warm.
Yeah, I think so. You know, Grace, if we keep this up, I think that we might just have the Democrats defending ISIS by the time the November election rolls around.
Well, you know what's particularly funny about it is that, like you said, Steve, the hate for Trump supersedes everything. So even people who had, you know, beliefs before or platforms, they'll change them now willy-nilly. For example, when Trump was harsh on Kim Jong-un and said he was a fat little dictator, he said it was the fire and fury tweet. Exactly. That was horrified.
That was going to bring about World War III. It was the most reckless thing any president has ever done. It absolutely destroyed the possibility of peace in the Korean Peninsula.
Exactly. And now that he's saying that Kim Jong-un was nice to give back the 3 Americans in North Korea.
He's using diplomatic language, you might say.
They freaked out. How dare he call a dictator nice? What's wrong with him? So it really is, it doesn't matter. And it's funny. Like people used to say, it's kind of a commonly used thing that Trump could cure cancer and they'd be mad about putting, you know, doctors out of business. But now it's really seeming like
it really is.
You're
developing a pattern. Strong symptoms of mental illness. If I ever end up defending terrorists with Hamas or MS-13 gangbangers, I hope somebody just takes me out back and puts me down.
Right. Well, and the other thing is that I think they really think that people don't see what's going on. And the best example is Jim Acosta on with Jimmy Kimmel, Chuck Schumer's spokesman. He's talking about how he was just as tough on Obama as he is on Donald Trump.
Do you think he really believes that?
He said it, and then afterwards he said, I know some people won't believe that, but it's true. It's true. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God.
Again, and we'll permit the playing of a Jim Acosta cut because I can see that it's only 23 seconds long. That's like 3 seconds longer of Jim Acosta that I can take, but we'll permit the playing of that cut. But again, comes the recurring question. When has Jim Acosta ever broken a story? When has Jim Acosta ever broken a single story that he had to investigate? All he ever does is go to the White House briefing room and shout petulant questions at Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
He's like a heckler with a press pass.
He really is. All right, well, let's roll cut 2.
Good word is I'm hated by the best people or the worst people. Are you their least favorite of all? Probably, yeah. But, as FDR once said, I welcome their hatred. You do? I do. And, listen, when I covered Barack Obama, I was just as tough on him. People might not believe that. You were. They didn't like you either. They didn't like me either. Universally disliked. I am, everywhere you go. It's difficult to find a table at a restaurant in Washington.
Every single word out of his mouth was a lie. I mean, was that a banana or an apple, CNN? Oh, and while we're on the topic of CNN, can you get into the picture that came out of Michael Avenatti? Their up and coming analyst.
So I love this story. So some woman, I don't know, she was like the wife of someone at the party.
She's the wife of a CNN on-air personality.
She tweeted out a picture of Michael Avenatti, Don Lemon, and a couple of other people. Okay. And she captioned it. I don't have the exact caption, but it was something like, "Oh, my favorite reporter," whatever. The funny thing about this is that, okay, I'll read the caption. "Thrilled to have met at Michael Avenatti at the Sag Harbor soiree of my second favorite on-air journalist at Don Lemon."
So here's the lead on this. 3 CNN on-air personalities are partying and getting drunk with Michael Avenatti, who is one of the lead subjects of the story that they've been breathlessly covering. But is it a conflict of interest much here?
I'm sure that this past week, I don't watch Don Lemon, but I know he has so much integrity. I'm sure he started every segment with, "Full disclosure, I had Michael Avenatti at my home in Sag Harbor."
No. No, that did not happen.
Well, that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted Sean Hannity
exactly.
to do.
That was the standard for Hannity. He should have begun every single segment of his show by saying, "Oh, by the way, Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's personal attorney, gave me some real estate advice." No, that is not the standard that CNN will be held to.
And you know what's funny is that I always change who I can't stand more with these liberal pundits, but Don Lemon he's a consistent like top 5er for me. He's awful. If I really have to
Chris
watch
Cillizza
him.
is, I think, worse than Don Lemon.
Oh, and he got in trouble the other day too. We didn't even get to it.
Yeah, he posted a picture online. All these journos are getting themselves in trouble on Twitter. Yeah, Chris Cillizza is this. He's the dumbest guy at CNN. All he has is super conventional takes and dumb listicles. He wouldn't even be qualified to work at BuzzFeed, frankly.
No, and wasn't he tied up in the Me Too thing for a while?
Not Chris Cillizza. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know if he's interested in women. If you get what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Maybe I have the wrong guy.
I don't mean to speculate or start rumors.
No, it's better we clear his name right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't think he was tied up in the Me Too movement. I mean, he's a very weak person. But he tweeted out a picture of Trump with crosshairs on him.
Yes, and his excuse was the GIF
there was
that
a glitch.
used.
There was a glitch.
Yeah,
there was a glitch. The Tweety machine glitched.
The last frame that it froze on.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
No one is buying it.
Because, like, for instance, I tweeted out today. This is just an example. I tweeted out today about the royal wedding.
I'm shocked.
And I said, the only thing more annoying than people who care a lot about the royal wedding are people who insist on telling you how much they don't care about the royal wedding and how dumb you are for caring about it. I started to think about this. And I'm like, oh, I hope this doesn't offend anyone. Like, maybe
I think you're just trying to convince yourself that it's actually worth your time to be obsessed with the royal wedding, and that your critics are wrong. But you're like, no, my critics are wrong. The haters are wrong.
But Steve, do you see my point where that was such a harmless tweet, and I was thinking to myself, like, I hope this isn't too risque.
Yeah.
I hope this doesn't cause too much division amongst my followers. These people are tweeting out pictures of the president with crosshairs over him. And they never think to themselves, maybe I shouldn't hit the tweet out button.
You know, one thing that I will say about the royal wedding is I love that American white trash is going to ruin it. It's going to happen. Like the father, the drama, everything. I love it. It's like one last act of revenge after the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. We're coming back to ruin an American way. There's going to be shirts getting ripped off. There's going to be people doing keg stands. This is going to be the least classy wedding in the history of weddings on that island, thanks to the involvement of Americans, and I love it. And that's the last word.
Can I tell you? Can I say one thing? Meghan Markle. I wasn't sure beforehand how I felt about her. But after all of this, And I've gotten some heat on Twitter. People say, oh, Grace, why do you feel bad for her? She's marrying into the royals. All I'm saying is, if you're a girl, and you know, Steve, you're getting married. If you're a girl, your wedding day is a big day. Nobody wants all of this.
It's going to be so trashy.
Ugh, it's just awful.
It's going to be so trashy. And that's the last word on that. So while we're talking about CNN and Michael Avenatti, the porn lawyer, we might as well do the poll question.
Yes.
Today's poll question is brought to you by Howie Carr's Father's Day special. Howie's offering a limited number of Father's Day VIP experiences. Just 100 of these guys. Just 100 fathers are going to get to come in studio for the VIP experience. Give this to Dad, and he'll get to come watch the show. He'll get a set of Howie's books. He'll get a mug. He'll get a bobblehead. He'll get more than that. He'll get to slam some pizza with the captain. It's a great gift if your dad loves Howie Carr. It's a very intimate experience. And you know what? You're also going to get to gossip behind the scenes with Grace. Get it now, HowieCarrShow.com, HowieCarrShow.com. Just click the little banner and you'll see it. We've also got a Father's Day book bundle if you're not going to be able to make it down to the studio. And that's on Friday. Hey, make a weekend of it. You know, come down to Boston, come see the Howie Carr Show, and maybe Grace will take you to the Whiskey Priest.
Oh, or maybe one of the guests can take me to a nice steak dinner. I mean, who knows?
Wait, are you really going to put a steak dinner with Grace on the table for the Father's Day special?
It depends where it's at, maybe. If it's a good place.
Oh, well, there you go. There's a non-zero chance that if you get your dad the Father's Day VIP
well, we
special.
had the VIPs last week, and they said to me, oh, we're going, and they named some restaurant that I love. And I was like, oh my God, I would die. I want to go there so bad. And they said, oh, we'll take you with us. But unfortunately, we had like an hour of the show left.
Yeah.
But in general, yeah, I mean, I can't turn down a good
You're not going to
steak.
pass up a good dinner.
Yeah, a good bread roll. Oh,
all right, Taylor, what is the poll question, and what are the results thus far?
Should the Mooch and Avenatti get a TV show?
Okay, so the Mooch is Scaramucci. There's a New York Times story out today by Maggie Haberman, who typically has pretty good sources, that at least 2 cable TV networks have been approached by the porn lawyer and Anthony Scaramucci.
The 11-day press secretary.
The 11-day White House wonder. They're trying to pitch a TV show. I guess it's like a Crossfire reboot where they just argue about politics. I don't really know.
Losers squared. I mean, like, what is this?
You know, it's just. I mean, I kind of like the Mooch. I like his attitude. He's been forceful in his defense of the president, even despite his premature exit from the White House.
I like the Mooch, but what I don't like is this new. And I guess you could say it started with reality shows or whatever, but this new culture where these 2 guys aren't. They haven't done anything, and now we're going to give them their own television show. The Mooch worked at the White House for 11 days. I don't know why he gets on so many shows. I don't know why Avenatti gets on so many shows.
How many other people did nothing and they have their own reality show?
Exactly. You're a fan of the Kardashians.
But the Kardashians have amazing makeup, and I cannot say the same for either one of these guys.
Scaramouche, he ran a hedge fund. Hey. He's like a wealthy guy in and of his own right. Avenatti, I mean...
Great hair gel.
He's like a boring neighbor. Like, I wouldn't mind talking to him for 5 minutes while I get my coffee, but I don't want to watch a TV show with either of them.
I just think that, they're basically the same person. They're just like tough talking blowhards.
It's gonna be Jersey Shore briefcase edition.
Yeah, exactly. It's like white collar Jersey Shore. Yeah. Exactly what it is. And they'll just have like dumb conventional takes on things. And it'll be, hey, oh no, Donald Trump's bad. No man, Donald Trump's good.
I know.
That's
so 83% say they wouldn't watch.
You know what?
Of course they wouldn't. Our listeners are so smart and they're so informed. They don't want to watch this. There's plenty of good people on TV.
I will predict that if this happens, it's going to get high ratings. People will tune into this because we're the American body politic are just a bunch of sadists.
Well, when we get back, I have more news about Avenatti. Things are starting to unravel for him. It's not looking good. He's got a little legal trouble of his own. So I don't know if he's going to defend himself, but he might need some legal expertise.
Interesting. All right. We'll hear that from Grace when we get back. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr. Back in a minute.
More Howie Carr Show with Steve Robinson after this.
Howie Carr here with Dr. Houghton from Perfect Smiles. He's here to tell us about a new non-surgical procedure that can change the look of your face.
That's right, Howie. When people want that wow smile, it's often more than just teeth. So we address the shape of the bone that holds the teeth in place.
My listeners know Perfect Smiles for dental veneers, which make your teeth look great, but the facial structure around them can still be lacking. This new procedure can help with that, right?
Yes, like a building, you have to have a good foundation. So this allows us not only to have a better lineup of the teeth, but it makes you look
underdeveloped face, like a small chin or a flat face, and you can help that person develop a fuller, more natural-looking face.
Yes, and all non-surgical, because we use these appliances that stimulate the growth that develops you to your full DNA potential. In other words, how you were born to look.
Not only can it change the look of your face for the better, it can also help with TMJ pain and sleep apnea.
And headaches, too.
Find out more at perfectsmiles.com. That's perfectsmiles.com, or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
In summary, the president's overall health is excellent. Okay, with that, I'll take some questions.
How much weight have you suggested the president lose?
Can you assess the president's mental fitness for office?
Cholesterol over 220. Do you hope to get it under 200?
Are you ruling out things like early onset Alzheimer's? Are you looking at dementia-like symptoms?
Did he need to be sedated at all? Or he doesn't have heart disease? Is that what you said?
The 25th Amendment. A lot of people in the country have been talking about it. Do you believe he is fit for duty?
Sometimes it sounds like he has the sniffles when he's talking.
Do you have a life expectancy range for him based on his results? Is he limited to one scoop of ice cream now?
So is there anything you're keeping from us for privacy reasons?
Are you confident of his prostate health?
I think a waist measurement for the president. His weight, I think he's at 239, right? It seems, I think it's just shy of obesity.
It's recommended that most baby boomers get screened for hepatitis C. Did you do a hep C test, or has he had one previously?
Some of the president's friends have told reporters in the past that they think he's a germaphobe, that he washes his hands obsessively. And have you seen any indication of that type of behavior?
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the limescale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate limescale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Filling in for Howard Lawrence Carr, it's the pride of Bowdoin. Bowdoin? Bowdoin, never heard of it. It's Steve Robinson.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson filling in for Grace's news. But first, we've got a development in the chat section of the YouTube viewing stream.
I love the YouTube commenters.
Sheila Beef says, Steve is a very handsome young man and smart. Why, thank you. To which Taper Randy replies, he and Grace have the same eyebrows. That's a huge compliment for you, Grace. I don't think you understand.
That's a huge compliment for you, Steve. I spend so long on my brows.
All the power comes from these eyebrows, and they are perfectly natural.
Are you seriously trying to compare eyebrows with me? You know,
yeah,
eyebrows.
I am.
You know, eyebrows are my thing.
I know they're your thing, and by meticulously curating your eyebrows, you have achieved near perfection.
Are you're referencing yourself when you say perfection?
I don't have to touch these. I just wake up in the morning and boom, my brows are right. My power brow is right there. It commands a room.
I can't believe that people are comparing our eyebrows.
I'm a little surprised too, to be honest. I mean, you've got great eyebrows, Grace, but I mean, Have you seen these?
That's like comparing Britney and Christina. Like, what?
All right.
One of them is the orig. One of them is a copycat. You're a copycat.
I'm not a copycat. I don't do anything to my eyebrows. And I was born before you.
I see you shaping them in your office, looking at photos of me while you do it.
This is fake news. This is fake news. Get on with the real news.
Very fake news.
Okay, well, I have to take this computer back just because my stories are under it. I want to get to, speaking of powerful women like myself, big congratulations to Susan Scott, who has been named the CEO of Fox News. She's going to be the first woman to ever be the CEO.
And I'm sure that all of the women's rights organizations are applauding Fox News right now for elevating a woman, just like they are applauding President Trump for nominating the first female director of the CIA.
Yes, and just like they are very, very nice to Sarah Huckabee Sanders at all times, very respectful. I'm sure they're very happy for her. In other news, I really wanted to get...
Actually, hold on a second.
Taylor's so good with the little thing. You do it way more than Steve does.
Sorry. Before we get to that, though, I got to ask the question... will this new Fox CEO be good for Howie? Because you know that's the question he would ask.
Oh.
Is it likely to increase the number of opportunities he gets to go on TV?
That's a very interesting
Because I've never heard him
question.
talk about this woman.
Well, it says that she's been working at Fox for a long time. And she's been involved with a lot of the personalities in developing the network.
No.
So she's been in Fox for a while.
She's had a number of years to hire Howie and hasn't.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying? All right, I'll relay that information to the captain. You got to do this story. Do the Dolphins.
I will do the Dolphin story, but first I have to tell people that this new segment is brought to you by our very own Howie Carr Father's Day special. Howie's offering a limited number of Father's Day VIP experiences, just 100. To give your dad this gift, go to howiecarrshow.com. Click store. It's a great gift if your dad
when is Father's Day, by the way?
It's
June 12th?
They usually tell you just 2 days before.
Yeah, exactly. Should we get our dads down here together for the VIP experience?
Maybe I'll bring my dad and he'll be part. He is the president of the Howie Carr Nation.
No, he's not. He lost the election. Why do you keep spreading fake news? Paul LePage is the duly elected president of Howie Carr Nation.
Paul LePage is not my president. He's your president. My president is Jim Curley.
This is outrageous.
This is outrageous.
You're like
as
Hillary
my dad
Clinton.
has said
You're
before,
like Hillary Clinton.
You lost out on the opportunity to have the first multicultural West Asian president of the Howie Carr Nation.
You're like Hillary Clinton denying the legitimacy of the election.
We could have broken the glass ceiling.
You're like Maxine Waters right now.
You guys chose just another white guy, white privilege, when you could have chosen someone.
He's French-Canadian.
You could have chosen someone Baltic.
He's a Frenchman.
What about all the Baltic people watching their TV saying, I'm never going to be able to be president of Howie Carr Nation? They would have seen my dad and said, you know what? If Jim Curley can do it, I can do it. He's probably 1.5% West Asian.
This is ridiculous. Can we please get to some real news about hunger striking dolphins in the Ukraine?
Yes, we can. This is a great story. Okay, so the Ukraine has military dolphins. That's the first thing you need to know about this story, okay? Or they had them. And these dolphins, and no, I'm not going to name them all because I'm sure there were several.
Oh, also their names are classified. Come on, Curly.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Special Agent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They were captured by Russia. The Ukraine is claiming that these dolphins were so loyal to them that they went on a hunger strike.
These are patriotic dolphins.
And died.
These are patriotic dolphins. They really laid it on the line for the Ukraine.
Like
the strongest protest yet we've seen to the annexation of Crimea.
It says Ukraine is home to some of the more adventurous military blue sky thinking, mostly hangovers from the Soviet era. Blah, 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 blah. And then they have a lot of dolphins. The dolphins were captured. Ukraine demanded their return, but Russia forces refused. Some believe the Russians were planning to retrain the dolphins as Russian soldiers, but the dolphins went on a hunger strike. I just can't believe this.
What do the dolphins do, by the way? Is that in the story?
I don't know. They're super cute and they swim around. They push you like they do in Atlantis. They push you by the feet. I've never done that before.
I think they've in some of the images of them, they showed them with cameras on them. So are they like spy dolphins? Are they like chasing down Russian subs?
I think they can hunt for mines and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think they can do that as well.
But that's amazing.
They would hunger strike?
To be that dedicated.
Well, they probably had some emotional attachment to their Ukrainian trainers, right?
I mean, we don't even have people.
Do you think the hunger strike came from a sense of Ukrainian nationalism? Are they frustrated with the politics of Vladimir Putin and his imprisonment of journalists, or
maybe they just weren't being fed? Maybe it was an involuntary hunger strike.
They wouldn't
There's so many possible things that happen here.
They wouldn't be the only ones in Russia not getting fed.
Exactly. And this is just a little bit of light news, but I think it's very exciting. 8 p.m. sunsets begin this week.
Oh, good.
Till August 4th. So everyone's
so
driving
nice
home,
when we get
it's
out of
gonna
the
be
studio
sunny.
and it's still light out.
Oh,
I love
it's
it.
the best.
All right, after this brief break, we're going to be back. We're going to be talking about the death of the Russia collusion investigation in the upcoming IG report. 1-844-500-4242. This is Steve in for Howie. Back after this.
Global marble and granite fabrication and installation are the preferred choice of designers, architects, developers, and the most discriminating homeowners. The finest marble, granite, natural stones, and quartz, creating luxury kitchen countertops, tub surrounds, fireplaces, outdoor kitchen countertops, and any custom projects. Call to schedule your free estimate. 508-771-1001. That's 508-771-1001. Or visit globalmarbleandgraniteinc.com.
Hey, Mainers. Howie Carr's Deplorable Show with Corey Lewandowski is coming to Bangor. You don't want to miss this special live event Friday, June 1st. You'll hear firsthand from Corey what it was like to manage President Trump's historic campaign. From the controversies to the wild victories, you'll hear it all. Tickets include Howie's presidentially endorsed book, What Really Happened, and Corey's best-selling tell-all, Let Trump Be Trump. Don't miss this Deplorable Show with Howie and Corey, Friday, June 1st. Space is limited, so get your tickets now at HowieCarShow.com.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply, and, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
This is the Howie Carr Show live from Chappaquiddick at the Party House. 25 years after Chappaquiddick 1969. On WHDH, News Talk 850.
Another bad song from 1969. 742-0850. We're going to take some calls this segment if you want to get on board. If you have any questions for John Farrar, the scuba diver who saw Mary Jo Kopechne's body underwater. The number again, 742-0850. We're going to start talking about the incident and everyone's perceptions. John, let me just get this straight. So now, as far as your belief is that while Ted Kennedy was walking past all these houses back towards the Party House where we're broadcasting from now, Mary Jo was still alive.
That is correct.
And she would have been alive probably for about an hour, you think?
I think that's most reasonable, and if an hour, if not longer, that's correct.
If not.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to. So I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about Angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking Angioprim, the pain was gone and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Making sure that we don't have high-capacity, rapid-fire magazines that allow mass killings.
Maybe we shouldn't have high magazine clips.
Gas-assisted receiver firearms.
Machine gun magazines.
And what sounded like automatic rounds.
Seeing if we can get automatic weapons that kill folks in amazing numbers.
If I wanted to fire this on full semi-automatic...
Well, why do we need jumbo clips?
The best bill
do you know what a barrel shroud is?
Time. I actually don't know what a barrel shroud is. I believe it's a shoulder thing that goes up.
No, it's not.
What the District of Columbia was trying to do was to protect toddlers from guns.
It is harder to buy cough medicine than it is to buy an AK-47 or 50 of them.
It is easier for a teenager to buy a Glock than get his hands on a computer or even a book.
It's legal to hunt humans with 15-round, 30-round, even 150-round magazines.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
It feels like you're relying on this tax cut of the corporations, of the wealthy, to trickle down.
Yeah, Southwest and American Airlines both announcing they're going to give $1,000 bonuses to employees following the tax overhaul.
Wage increases don't follow tax cuts like this.
So the world's largest retailer giving its U.S. employees a bonus, a wage increase, and expanded maternity and parental leave. So you're creating a huge tax cut, and you might not get wage growth.
Right.
Capital One Financial, which just confirmed to CNBC that they will raise the minimum wage for all U.S.-based employees at Capital One to $15 per hour.
And anybody who thinks that this corporate tax cut is going to trickle down to lift wages has a staggering ignorance of how public companies function.
Wells Fargo said it would raise its minimum wage to $15 per hour.
That the day we cut the corporate tax rate, wages are going to suddenly jump up when there's absolutely no historical evidence whatsoever that this will happen.
Boeing announced $300 million in investments for corporate giving and workplace improvements.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source.
better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
President who's dominating the headlines on the topic after he referred to some undocumented immigrants as animals.
There can be an MS-13 gang member I know about. If they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about them.
We have people coming into the country or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals.
Now it's starting to make some sense.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
And it is a very slippery slope when you start dehumanizing people this way. It's what the Nazis did. It's what slave owners did. It's not what Americans do.
Calling people animals is not a good thing.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I can't imagine anybody at this table is interested in the president's personal relationship with a porn star or anybody else. This is clearly an issue that the American people, unfortunately, it matters to them. It's not a personal, story of some cheap, disgusting affair the president might have had. Unfortunately, we have to talk about this because the president might be a danger.
Unchained and unstoppable.
As FDR once said, I welcome their hatred.
You do?
I do. And, listen, when I covered Barack Obama, I was just as tough on him. I wanted to ask you about what some people are calling your best week ever. Man, that's a tough one.
Who do you love? Howie Carr.
Are you favoring the government actually regulating the relationship between CEO pays and the average worker?
I think it's a very good idea, and I think we should start talking about it. I think, but I want to go further than that. I'd like to see shareholders say, wait a minute, what's going on with my dividend?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. Howie's on vacation. I am his executive producer, Steve Robinson, filling in for him today. He is down in Texas for the graduation ceremony of one of his daughters. So we hope that the weather's going to be nice down there. So he has very little to complain about when he gets back. But the news continues apace. And we're going to be talking this hour about the Russian collusion probe, which I think it's safe to say is we heard its death rattle yesterday in the New York Times, courtesy of a story titled "Codename Crossfire Hurricane: The Secret Origins of the Trump Investigation." And I'm glad that they call it the Trump investigation and not the Russia collusion investigation, because it's pretty clear that that's exactly what it is. It's an investigation of the president searching for a crime. And the story was clearly a leak from the Department of Justice. There are some high-level bureaucrats, some lifers, who are about to have a very, very bad go of it. Because, as we all know, the Inspector General Horowitz, the Inspector General at the Department of Justice, he's the one who produced the report, the first in a series of reports that led to the firing of Andrew McCabe. He was the number 2 guy, the deputy under James Comey, who was overseeing the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server and also into Trump and the collusion conspiracy theory. So if Horowitz already has the head of the number 2 guy at the FBI, it's safe to say that his body count is about to increase when this next report comes out, which is a review not just of an individual person, but a review of how the department handled the investigation of Hillary Clinton's email server, what they did and what they didn't do. I think what they didn't do is going to be a bigger part of this. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as we go along here. The number, if you want to be a part of the program, 844-500-4242. But this is a complicated story, so I kind of want to lay it out. We'll talk about what we know now about the so-called collusion investigation and some of the key takeaways from this New York Times story, which is riddled with errors, just like really, really simple errors. And it's like the length of the Old Testament. So clearly, this is an attempt to get out in front of that IG report and try and soften the blows. It's a very, very curious story, and among one of the sources that's on the record in this story, something we didn't get into yesterday. Sally Yates. Okay, I know that in some chambers of America, perhaps in Manhattan or out in San Diego, there are places where Sally Yates is regarded as some kind of hero of the Trump resistance. But if you look at it with nonpartisan eyes, she's a government hack who was fired for refusing to do her job. So she's not exactly an authoritative source when you're trying to confirm what was good or lawful at the Department of Justice, in my opinion. So here's what we know. We know that in March of 2017, President Trump came out with those tweets Some of the most infamous tweets of his presidency so far, claiming that the Obama administration has wiretapped him. We all remember that. It was a astonishing claim. And I think most of us were inclined, based on our understanding of the nature of the Obama regime, we were inclined to believe that President Trump had, in fact, been spied upon. His critics leapt on the use of the term wiretap to suggest, well, no, they didn't have somebody crawling in there to put, gypsy wires on his telephone communications. But, in the modern age, wiretap can mean any manner of things. If he was to tweet it more accurately, he probably could have said spied. But we were that tweet, or that series of tweet from President Trump claiming that his presidential campaign was spied upon, was greeted with these kind of headlines. CNN, Trump's baseless wiretap claim. President Trump made a stunning claim Saturday, alleging without offering evidence that his predecessor Barack Obama wiretapped his phones at Trump Tower ahead of the 2016 election. And this one from, I don't know what outlet this is from. This is just a headline. Trump ends presidential phase by claiming without evidence that Obama wiretapped him. And now, a little over a year later, we have Justice Department officials leaking to the New York Times that, yes, in fact, he was spied upon. And we know now that it wasn't just Carter Page who was spied on.
Wait, Steve, can I ask a question for people who are trying to follow this?
Yes.
Why are people, so the people who are leaking now saying, yes, it's true, are they people who are involved?
Yes. Yes, and we don't know this for sure, but this is the theory that I'm putting out there, and people are welcome to poke holes in it if they want at 844-500-4242. And I'm not the only one advancing this theory, but I mean, why else do they have this volumes of leaks to the New York Times? They're basically, here's some passages from the story. This is from the New York Times story. The FBI investigated 4 unidentified Trump campaign aides in those early months, congressional investigators revealed in February. The 4 men were Michael T. Flynn, Paul Manafort, Carter Page, and Mr. Papadopoulos, current and former officials said. The FBI obtained phone records and other documents using national security letters, a secret type of subpoena, officials said. Officials. And at least one government informant met several times with Mr. Page and Mr. Papadopoulos, current and former officials said. Current and former officials. So the former officials are people who were either appointed or joined the government because of Barack Obama. Current officials are still there, still subject to a review by the Inspector General. So the reason why these Obama lovers are leaking to the New York Times is because they have gotten eyes on the Inspector General report.
So they know it's going to come out. They're trying to get ahead of it.
Some of them know what is actually in the report. So when the Inspector General compiles the report, it's his investigation of the department's conduct vis-a-vis or with regard to Hillary Clinton, the investigation of Hillary Clinton's server. And when the draft is finished, as the Wall Street Journal has reported this week that the draft is finished, we get it. So say there's an Inspector General at the Howie Carr show and they're examining, Grace's conduct. You get to see a copy of the report and make a rebuttal to some of the allegations in the report. And then those allegations, if they have merit, are included in the report, or your rebuttal, they're included in the report, and the final draft is made to the public. Okay, so they see this report, they say, oh no, the curtain is about to be pulled back. The American people are about to learn just exactly how far we went to protect Hillary Clinton and immunize her and her, corrupt cronies from actually being held accountable for breaking the law and breaking the law in a way that put the nation's secrets at risk. The American people are finally going to learn the truth. So you start to set expectations. And one of the things that they've done is they've gone to the New York Times and basically admitted, yeah, Trump was right. Yeah, we did tap his wires. And they've moved from the denial phase into the justification phase. And this entire story, codename Crossfire Hurricane, the secret origins of the Trump investigation, is trying to set a narrative that this spying campaign was in fact justified. And so let's go back to this one paragraph that I just read from the New York Times story, confirming that the FBI did investigate Carter Page, George Papadopoulos, Rick Gates, and Paul Manafort. One of the things it reveals is, quote, the FBI obtained phone records and other documents using national security letters. National security letters. Now, this is not a letter written about national security. What this is it's a warrantless request for a vast amount of information on a subject. A national security letter is a very controversial tool that the FBI has at its disposal that it can send to Google, to Facebook, to Verizon, to AT&T. And the letter says, we have reason to believe that Carter Page's communications on your platform are of national security interest and you need to turn them over. And importantly, these national security letters are not approved by a judge. There's no judicial approval on a national security letter. And it says they obtained phone records and other documents using national security letters. So I take this to believe, my understanding, when it says other documents, is that they got emails, they got text messages, they got basically every electronic communication that these four people were sharing through an undisclosed period of time. My guess is they went as far back as they possibly could. Because if you look at the FISA warrant, the surveillance warrant that was taken out on Carter Page on the basis of the dodgy dossier, that was it wasn't just, oh, you've got the warrant, now you can start monitoring his communications. That was backward facing. So they got the warrant on Carter Page, and then they could look back into his history of communication throughout the time that he was involved, however small a role he played with the Trump campaign. So we've gone in just over a year, we've gone from, no, this is crazy. How would you ever suggest that President Obama, scandal-free Obama, would spy on a political opponent of Hillary Clinton? No, that's just go put your tinfoil hat on. Go listen to Alex Jones. That's just conspiracy theory stuff. And now current and former DOJ officials are admitting in the New York Times through leaks that there was an elaborate spying campaign, and they are terrified. These bureaucrats are scared out of their minds about what this IG report has to say. And I think that's good for America. We'll be back after this.
More Howie Carr Show with Steve Robinson after this.
Falling into bed takes on a whole new meaning when you sleep on any Casper mattress. Try yours for 100 nights in your own home. Go to Casper.com and use code Howie to save $50 on the purchase of select mattresses. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. May is here, and that means two things: graduations and Mother's Day. Nothing says love like a wonderful rosé or champagne for mom, and Liquor & More has just what you need. Avoid long grocery lines and visit them in Plymouth, Orleans, Bourne, Dennis, Yarmouth, and now open again, Wellfleet. For graduation parties, you can take advantage of their delivery service. Go to their site at liquorandmore.com to see their variety. Liquor & More has just what you need. Liquor & More, a proud sponsor of life's memorable moments. It's a common phrase, better safe than sorry. Of course, sometimes you need an actual safe to be safe, and you'll find the best at Dependable Lock Service in Nashua and Liberty Safe of New Hampshire in Northampton. Both locations carry Liberty Safes, and you'll be safe when you keep your guns and other valuables in the safe made with the best materials and craftsmanship here in the USA. Visit your Liberty Safe dealer located in Nashua or Northampton, New Hampshire, or online at libertysafenewhampshire.com to find the right safe for you.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
In your pre-law enforcement career as a drug dealer, Trooper, what was your profit margin on that 100-plus pounds of standard-grade weed that you personally sold?
I was making at least $200 a pound.
But weren't you making a lot more selling the Primo stuff, high bud, the so-called hydroponic cannabis?
A lot more, $600 or $700.
As a drug dealer, you yourself were doing a lot of drugs, right? In addition to smoking marijuana, how often?
Basically every day. I use Xanax, Wellbutrin, possibly Vicodin. The Xanax I would take for sleep, Wellbutrin I would take for depression.
What about when the G-men ask you about the dates of certain crimes that you committed?
See, I'm afraid to actually state dates because I don't want to get perjurized for something I don't recall correctly.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
Steve's in the big chair, and Grace, well, she's on the board.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Steve Robinson filling in for Howie Carr here in Boston, and we're talking about the collapse of the Russia collusion narrative the Democrats have been peddling. They really thought that this was a pony that they could ride to electoral success in the midterms coming up in November, but it's now apparent, at least it's my opinion, that this whole thing is collapsing. The narrative is about to shift, and the deep state is beginning to justify why they were spying on a presidential campaign. This is bigger than Watergate. Trump's original tweets about this back in March of 2017, they stand up pretty well. We'll go to the phone lines now at 844-500-4242. Mike, you're first on this with Steve filling in for Howie. Go ahead, Mike.
How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
How you doing?
Good.
I just want to say, they can spin all they want, but the real problem is that if Strzok, Page, Rubicki, Baker, McCabe are cooperating and have done plea deals, you can spin all you want. The media is going to have to cover the perp walks.
Yeah, well, I don't know if the MSNBCs or the CNNs of the world will have to cover it. I mean, even when there's incredible breaking news, they still somehow manage to talk about the porn lawyer and Stormy Daniels. But I think that you're right in if some of the actors involved in this, the Strzoks, the Lisa Page, if they are cooperating with the Inspector General, then it's going to be very inconvenient. Because it's not just going to be an allegation coming from, Jeff Sessions' Department of Justice. It's going to be, whistleblowers turning on each other. And if they broke the law and there's proof of that, then they're going to have to. I mean, these aren't incredibly courageous people. These are briefers. These are pencil pushing desk jockeys. They're not people who would stand up when they're looking at 10 to 15 years in prison. So I think you're right about that. And there was a complaint that I think it was Rand Paul made a little while ago. Basically saying, why are these people still employed? Why do they have security clearances? And people in the conservative media were outraged that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page still had security clearances. But the thing is, these guys are sitting in rubber rooms, and that's evidence that they have in fact turned. And so it doesn't really matter that they still have their security clearance. That's just a technicality. They're not being allowed anywhere near any kinds of secretive information. They're in a rubber room. They're coming into the Department of Justice, and if they need to be asked a question about the investigation, they're answering the question about the investigation. But I think that's a good point, Mike. Thanks for the call.
Like, Steve, that's what I always wonder about these things. Am I gonna, when I'm pulling clips in the morning of Chris Cuomo and Allison Camerata, are they even going to mention this? You are not
going to see. I will make a bold claim right now. You are not going to see a mea culpa. You are not going to see a mea culpa on CNN or on MSNBC. In fact, Bob Mueller himself could come out and say, you know what? I plumbed the corners of the universe to try and find evidence of Russia collusion, and my exhaustive search leads me to declare confidently that there was, in fact, no Russian collusion, and Donald Trump won this election fair and square. He could come out and make that statement, and you won't have a mea culpa from CNN, from MSNBC, from the New York Times, or from the Washington Post. None of them will admit that they got over their skis, that their reporting was inaccurate. That's just not how the business works. And it's as Howie says, the investigation continues. Even if the investigation doesn't continue through Bob Mueller's office, the investigation is going to continue by Moonbat, Sid Vicious, Sid Blumenthal, that old Hillary Clinton hack. He'll still be out there in Siberia 20 years from now with a scraggly beard and a bottle of vodka in his hand, trying to search for some evidence of Russia collusion. This thing is never going to die. And it was never meant to die. It was never meant to find any evidence. It was meant to handicap and hamstring the administration of President Trump. That's what it's all about. It's all about putting roadblocks in front of President Trump so that he can't advance his policy agenda. That's what it's about. It's ideological war, and the deep state is fighting dirty. But, fortunately, we have Inspector General Horowitz. And as I said earlier, he already got Andy McCabe. Think about that. The number 2 guy at the FBI was fired in disgrace. And, I know he's raised money for his legal fund. I think he's going to need it. But here's some open questions that I have. Well, first of all, if these Department of Justice officials decided that it was in their interest to leak to the New York Times, how bad is this IG report? What's going to be in this? And are there going to be new characters who come up in this? Will James Comey feature prominently into this IG report? I think he might. He's been kind of quiet lately, right? The guy's trying to sell a book. He's been awfully quiet. I know he had about a week or two of publicity, but think about in the last couple of weeks. Have you heard anything from Jim Comey? It's kind of odd, isn't it? I think he features into this report.
This is so interesting, Steve. This is like one of my mystery podcasts. I'm just glued to this right now.
And I think that if the bigger story here becomes not the Moonbats conspiracy theory about Russian collusion, and the big story here is actually, as I believe it is, the weaponization of the American spy state for political reasons, then is Bob Mueller, does he have a conflict of interest here? Because the bad guy here, it would seem to me, is not President Trump. It's the deep state. It's the spy state. It's all these hack leftists who broke the law to try and rig a presidential election, and failing that, to undermine a duly elected president of the United States. So it seems to me that the intelligence community is the bad actor here. And Bob Mueller, being a longtime member of said community, is he really the one to investigate? I think he's got a conflict of interest. Let's take your calls next. 1-844-500-4242. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr. This is the Howie Carr Show.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papageorge, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
80% of Massachusetts got a tax break, but Senator Elizabeth Warren says
this tax bill is terrible.
Wrong again, Senator. We deserve better than Elizabeth Warren. Jeff Deal saved taxpayers $2 billion when he took on the special interest to defeat the automatic gas tax, the only Massachusetts tax cut in 7 years. And Jeff is the only candidate for Senate with the guts to support building the wall and a proven track record fighting sanctuary cities.
I'm Jeff Deal, and I approve this message.
Paid for and authorized by Deal for U.S. Senate.
And we will much about that be committed. So there's no real conflict. Michael Druniak, including Lincoln himself, Daniel Day-Lewis. Behind Monica Lewinsky, the one and only Trey Songz is here. But Allison Lundergan Grimes, Gina Day Jesus. When Gina Day Jesus, Tea Party challenger Matt Biffin. people don't want to have their Social Security overall. The Republican savior, Mark Rubio's big night in evolution and Galileo. I mean, this whole thing of Galileo. America's changed. Unless IT and Skillets, President Putin doing something similar back in, it won't change this fundamental fact about the GOP. Just how absurd these attacks is.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply. And, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic. And very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
James Garfield was ambidextrous, and he could write Greek with his right hand while simultaneously writing Latin with his left. They don't teach that at Deerfield. Grover Cleveland allegedly date raped a woman, got her pregnant, forced her to put the child in an orphanage, and then committed her to an insane asylum. That's like some Clinton stuff. Benjamin Harrison was nicknamed Kid Gloves because he always wore goatskin gloves, allegedly to protect himself from infection. Grover Cleveland is the only president to have ever served as a hangman. He carried out multiple executions. William McKinley's wife suffered from epileptic seizures, and when she had seizures during public events, McKinley would gently place his handkerchief over her face and carry on.
Celebrating 25 years on the air, this is the Howie Carr Show.
And make no mistake, this information is embarrassing. It's embarrassing because the president said something that wasn't true at all, and the federal government knew it wasn't true back in March when Comey testified, and your taxpayer dollars keep being used to investigate this fiction.
The quote-unquote fiction that Jake Tapper, the light of CNN, is referring to, it has now been admitted as fact by current and former DOJ officials speaking to the New York Times in a story that they published yesterday, where they admitted that the surveillance was even deeper than was previously known. To my knowledge, we didn't know that national security letters were being used to seize records on four Trump campaign associates. And they're also admitting that they had, quote, an informant. That's what they say. They say they had an informant on the campaign. But I don't think an informant doesn't really describe the role that Pickle Nose, as we've been calling him here at the Howie Carr Show, played. His job was more like entrapment. You know, if you're an informant, you're going behind the scenes with a criminal organization. You're not trying to bring criminal activity into an organization. So I think there are a couple of questions here, and we'll get out to the phone lines at 844-500-4242. How bad is the IG report going to be? Can Bob Mueller, as a longtime member of the intelligence community, be trusted to investigate what happened here with this Russian collusion thing? Because, honestly, the special counsel is now part of the conspiracy to undermine a sitting president. And how can we trust the United States government to have these tools when they were basically trying to rig a presidential election with them? How can we have faith that this isn't going to happen again? I think with Trump in the White House and some of his people, controlling the levers of power, perhaps they could prevent their own administration, members of their own administration, from turning against them. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going on at the CIA, who now seems was involved in this, vis-a-vis Pickle Nose. I think we all agree that we want the federal government to have the power to defend us and keep us safe because there are legitimate threats to our national security. But we can't allow those weapons to be used to manipulate elections. If we allow powerful people in Washington, D.C., in the deep state, to use these kinds of powers to manipulate elections, we cease to be a democratic republic. If this grand conspiracy to stop Donald Trump from becoming president of the United States has succeeded, we would have effectively ceased to be a democratic republic. And the scary thing about it is we never would have known. We never would have known. Do you think we would know about Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, the animus they carried for President Trump, and the fact that they were involved on the investigation of Hillary Clinton's server and the investigation of President Trump, and that they were paramours exchanging text messages about how much they hated the president? Do you think we would know any of that? No. Andy McCabe would probably be the director of the FBI right now. He's a Clintonista. His wife got a bunch of money from Terry McAuliffe, who's a longtime Clintonista. James Comey would have been out because, according to Hillary Clinton, he threw the election for her, and Andy McCabe would have been in. The now fired former deputy FBI director would be running the FBI. Who would be at the Department of Justice? Maybe Loretta Lynch? And none of this would be known to us. John Brennan, James Clapper, all of these odious characters of the Obama administration would still be in power. And none of us would know about this elaborate conspiracy to rig a presidential election. It's scary stuff. It's scary stuff. It really is. And I'm so looking forward to the Inspector General report from Horowitz coming out, because finally these bad actors are going to be held to account for what they did, what they tried to pull over on the American people. So we'll take some calls now. 1-844-500-4242. What are your thoughts on this? Is the Russia collusion investigation finally dead? Are we hearing its death rattles? Do you agree with me that we're now in the justification phase, the CYA phase for all these bureaucrats who are about to get pinned? Mike, you're for next on this one with Steve filling in for Howie. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Steve. How you doing today?
Phenomenal.
Doing a good job.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm a Stones from your alma mater. Anyways, listen. Now, what we got to ask ourselves is, we know the stuff going on. Now the big question is, what were they so worried about that the Trump campaign was going to find out?
Obviously they're worried that the Trump campaign was going to be elected. I think that it shows that for liberals in government, and I think you could safely say this is representative of liberal voters, Trump represented an existential threat. I mean, he was somebody who was going to, I guess he's shown that he's going to keep his promises, but he was someone who was going to shut off the flow of illegal immigrants into this country, and that would preclude the Democrat Party from giving a path to citizenship to up to 30 million new Democrat voters and installing a permanent majority. He's somebody who is going to cut taxes and cut off the revenue stream that makes all of these government employees fat and happy. I mean, Donald Trump was in some ways an existential threat to the Democrat state, to the administrative state, because all of his promises were in direct contradiction to not just, the 8 years of the Obama administration, but also the 8 years of the Bush administration. I mean, that's something that gets underplayed here, but the election of President Trump is a rebuke in many ways to the big government republicanism that George Bush represented, the overseas building democracies in the Middle East republicanism. But he was a threat to the bipartisan political establishment because he didn't want to play by the rules, and in many ways his policies were directly contrary to, the uniparty. That's what they were afraid of. That's what motivated this. It gets back to what Peter Strzok was texting about after his meeting in Andy McCabe's office. the insurance policy. The insurance policy, it was, think about how insurance works, Mike, all right? Your house burns down, you get the insurance, you build your house back the way it was. The insurance policy was, if President Trump is elected, we've got this insurance policy that's going to put us back to the status quo, i.e. impeaching President Trump. This is what it was about building. They were building the case to impeach President Trump in the event that he was elected. It wasn't just about preventing him from being elected. The insurance policy was building the case preemptively for impeachment.
Right. But understand this, okay? We knew about Hillary's emails. We knew about every other scandal that had gone on within the Obama administration. But let me tell you, if this Erdogan brothers situation with the Pakistani up in the middle
hey, Mike, you got to stop bumping your cheek up against your phone. You're like dialing all the numbers there. But thank you. I appreciate the call, Mike. I think he was going to start talking about the Imran Awan brothers, or I guess the Awan brothers scandal. And I agree. That is, I think, it's not getting as much attention as, say, Stormy Daniels. It's not getting as much attention as Bob Mueller. There's a lot of stuff that, it's not getting as much attention as the royal wedding. But this is a brewing scandal. We've been talking about it here on the Howie Carr Show. We've had Luke Rosiak. He's the reporter at the Daily Caller who's almost single-handedly blowing this thing open. It's a huge scandal. You had a family of Pakistanis with shady business practices hired to do the information and technical support for the House Democrats. They had the ability to read 1 out of every 5 House Democrats' emails and files. And there's strong implications here that they have blackmail material over members of Congress and that information was transmitted back to the government of Pakistan. That's big stuff. I don't know about you, but if I was a member of Congress and there were some shady tech guys reading my emails and potentially giving state secrets back to Pakistan, I'd be kind of upset about it and I'd want to be on top of it. But you get crickets, absolute crickets from all these hacks. It's like they're more concerned with their own personal well-being than they are with the security and the interests of the United States. It's a bizarre thing. But we'll take more calls on the Mueller investigation now. Philip, you're next on this one with Steve filling in for Howie Carr. Go ahead, Philip.
Hey, how you guys doing? I just had a question. Now, I watch Pawn Stars and American Pickers, and on some certain items, they always talk about the provenance of a certain item.
Yeah.
In this IG report, are they going to give us all the exact who had what, who wrote what, who carried it to whom on this report?
You mean on the IG report that comes out?
Right, as far as the dirty dossier is concerned.
On the dossier.
Just detail everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I'm not sure that the IG report that is forthcoming is about the dossier. It might have something to do with when the FBI learned that the Clinton campaign and the DNC was funding the creation of the dossier through cutouts. What I think mostly this is going to deal with is and I may be wrong. I mean, this is all just kind of speculation because very few people have actually seen the report yet. But I think it's dealing with how the FBI and how the Department of Justice handled the Clinton email investigation. For example, James Comey drafting her exoneration before she's even been interviewed. The fact that Cheryl Mills was granted attorney-client privilege with Hillary Clinton, and then on top of that had immunity. That Huma Abedin had immunity. That the investigation was not handled the way other matters are. There was astonishing leniency and benevolence granted. Almost the presumption of innocence that is lacking in the Trump investigation was granted many, many, many times over to Hillary Clinton. So I think that's what they're investigating right now. Were laws broken? Were procedures violated when it came to investigating Hillary Clinton? And I mean, if you're listening to me now on the airwaves of the Howie Carr Radio Network, you're thinking, well, duh, of course she got the kid gloves treatment. You're telling me that the people who Hillary Clinton is about to, be the president of the United States and they're working in the Justice Department, they think they're really going to grill this woman or any of her criminal co-conspirators very hard? Yeah, I don't think so. We'll take a quick break here. The number is 1-844-500-4242. Call that number, 1-844-500-4242. Press 2 for the chump line. And you can leave a message that we may or may not play at 5 o'clock when we start the third hour of the show. Some potential inspiration for chump line callers. Earlier, someone on the YouTube feed suggested that Grace, when she's meticulously curating her eyebrows, she draws on these babies for inspiration.
Very fake news.
I mean, that Grace says it's fake news, but I mean, you can see the comparison. These are beautiful, beautiful eyebrows. This is where all the power comes from. So I would not blame you. I would not insult you to say that you drew inspiration from these eyebrows. Why wouldn't you? So you call the Chump line at 844-500-4242. Press 2 to leave a message on the Chump line. We'll be back in a minute.
Steve Robinson returns after this.
This half hour of the Howie Carr Show is powered by the Car Guys. Purchasing a pre-owned car can be tricky, but not if you go through Bill Papa George. He is the absolute best in the business. Both Grace and I use the Car Guys, and recently my daughter Charlotte got a car from the Car Guys. Call 800-300-4600. That's 800-300-4600.
Howie Carr.
Our military members embark on a mission of protection and service to a nation and people they love. When returning home, things don't always go as planned. There are over 50,000 veterans homeless in America. The DV Farm in Gilson, New Hampshire is giving some of these veterans a second chance at a new mission, integrating back into society. Without state or federal funding, the DV Farm relies solely on your donations. Please make a tax-deductible donation to dvfarm.org today. One homeless veteran is too many. Let's complete this mission together.
Chappaquiddick, Power, Privilege, and the Ted Kennedy Cover-Up is the explosive book that pulled back the curtain on Ted Kennedy's involvement in the death of Mary Jo Kopechne in 1969. Journalist Leo DeMore spent 4 years investigating the Kennedy clan's elaborate cover-up to produce this damning chronicle of the Chappaquiddick scandal. And now Howie Carr has written the foreword to the release of Chappaquiddick, and the history buff in your family will love reading this thrilling account of political scandal and intrigue. Get it now at HowieCarrShow.com. Click Store.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
Although Thomas Jefferson and John Adams are recognized as founding fathers, neither of them attended the Constitutional Convention, and neither of them actually signed the document. George Washington and John Madison were the only presidents who signed the United States Constitution. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson once went to see William Shakespeare's home in 1786. They then ripped off a piece of Shakespeare's chair with a knife to take home as a memento. Did you know that Thomas Jefferson invented the swivel chair? James Madison was a little guy. He weighed under 100 pounds and was only 5'4". Little James. John Quincy Adams and Herbert Hoover both had pet alligators. Andrew Jackson once taught his parrot how to curse. It was so bad the parrot had to be removed from Jackson's funeral for swearing too much. Martin Van Buren was the first United States president to be born a citizen of the United States, but his first language was Dutch because he grew up in the Dutch part of New York called Kinderhook.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace, learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you will feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council. When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
He'll never pass up a fresh piece of roadkill. He's Steve Robinson, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson, Howie's executive producer, filling in for him as he's down in Texas to attend the graduation ceremony of one of his daughters. I got to let you know that today's poll question is brought to you by Howie Carr's Father's Day special. Howie's offering a limited number of Father's Day VIP experiences. There's only 100 of these available, so you need to act quick. Go to HowieCarrShow.com. Give this to your dad, and he'll get to come watch the show in the studio. He'll get a set of Howie's books. He'll get a Howie Carr coffee mug. He'll get a Howie Carr bobblehead doll. He'll get a full swag pack of Howie Carr stuff. Basically everything that a Howie Carr superfan needs. It's great if you're great gift if your dad loves Howie Carr. Grace and I, we're probably going to get our dads in here as a Father's Day gift. So go to HowieCarrShow.com, click the little Father's Day special banner. You can check it out, and you'll get to meet Grace. That's an added benefit, right?
I mean, I don't think you needed to say any of the other things.
You think that's the most valuable?
Yeah.
And earlier in the first hour of the show, Grace actually said that she would be open to going on a steak dinner with your father.
Yes.
I'm not saying that that's like a contractual obligation. I don't want to get into any trouble with human resources around here, but Grace made the offer and it's on record. So you never know what might happen. Sometimes there's magic in this studio, believe me. So Grace Curley, what is the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Should the Mooch and Michael Avenatti get their own TV show?
Yeah, so this is a story that came out in the New York Times that Anthony Scaramucci, the 11-day communications director at the White House, and Michael Avenatti, the porn lawyer, are shopping around a TV show featuring them as co-hosts. No, bad. No, America does not need Avenatti and Scaramucci with their own TV show.
86% of people say no way.
Speaking, we'll get back to the phone lines at 844-500-4242 in just a moment, but a little bit of breaking news, and it applies to Michael Avenatti. It turns out, this is according to the Daily Caller, Michael Avenatti's company fired pregnant women for being pregnant. Michael Avenatti's coffee chain fired a top-performing store manager in July of 2016 because she became pregnant, a court found, according to documents obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation. Now, that's not exactly a very progressive thing to do, Grace.
I hope she gets a lawyer and they go on CNN 100,000 times.
You know that invitation will never come. A Washington state court on October 13th, 2017, so this is very recently, ordered the parent companies for Tully's coffee chain to repay the woman $80,000 in lost wages and $40,000 in damages for pain and suffering after her unlawful termination. Yeah, you can't fire women just for becoming pregnant. Newsflash, Michael Avenatti. Wow. Wonder if they're... do you think this is going to put a hamper on his drunken parties with Don Lemon and other CNN personalities?
No.
Yeah.
He'll persevere.
Yeah. Somehow I don't think it's... I think Don Lemon... I think he's still best buds. John, you're next on this with Steve filling in for Howie. Go ahead, John.
Hey, how you guys doing? Great.
Spectacular, I think.
Yeah, me too. Grace, I'm sorry I missed your engagement with Kim and VB the other day. I wish there was a recording for that. But I was listening, today and to their show, and they're believing the Moonbat line that there is something to this collusion. So I'm not sure if they don't listen to Howie in the afternoon.
Well, see, John, there's an elaborate, it's complicated. You have to understand that it's very complicated. So, if someone actually believes that there's something to this Russia collusion, I don't immediately think that they're stupid or they're a bad person. It's just that they haven't been following it as closely. You have to follow this stuff very closely to understand the house of lies that has been constructed in order to undermine the Trump administration. That's all, John. And you gotta be able to read between the lines. Like, a moonbat or somebody who's not really following politics that closely looks at this huge story. I mean, look how big this story is. Like 5 trees had to die just so I could print this out. Codename Crossfire Hurricane, the secret origins of the Trump investigation. And they believe, well, if they had these national security letters, if they were spying on 4 members of the Trump campaign, if they were sending informants, aka Pickle Nose, in to spy on the campaign and create a pretext for broader spying, well, there's got to be something there. There's got to be something there. But the truth is, none of them are on the level. Just look at John Brennan. If you follow John Brennan on Twitter, you will see a portrait of someone who is slowly becoming a social justice warrior, just like a wild, deranged tweeter. Like they criticize President Trump's tweets. Go look at what John Brennan, he's the former CIA director. He was one of the most powerful people in the country under the Obama administration, and he's now just lobbing rhetorical grenades on Twitter like he's some a drunk 26-year-old staffer for Stan Rosenberg.
Steve, can I read you my favorite John Brennan tweet, April 28th? Mr. Trump, your hypocrisy knows no bounds. Jim Clapper is a man of integrity, honesty, ethics, and morality. You are not.
Well, that's interesting that he's praising James Clapper's integrity there, because James Clapper and John Brennan now hold conflicting opinions on the role that the dodgy dossier played in obtaining the FISA warrant to spy on Carter Page. John Brennan says that it didn't play any role, and James Clapper says that it did play a role. So which is it, John Brennan? Is he a man of integrity? And by the way, you can follow Grace on Twitter at G_Curly. You can follow me on Twitter at BigSteve207. We'll be back after this with the Chump Line. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr.
Howie Carr here with Ronnie from Life Change Tea. Ronnie, Get the Tea has changed my life, but many of my listeners don't understand what Life Change Tea is. Can you tell them?
It's a wonderful tea. It detoxes you. Most people find the side effect for the first couple months is weight loss because we get stuff trapped in our colon. We don't get it out. We don't cleanse, and we feel yucky. So what you're going to start feeling is a lot of energy.
So you can lose some serious weight drinking Life Change Tea?
I lost 25 pounds drinking the tea in 3 months.
Wow. And it just makes you feel better, too.
When you're sick, all of a sudden, when you start taking natural things, boy, I tell you, the sickness starts going away.
I can attest to that, Ronnie. Where can people go to learn more and order Life Change Tea?
They can go to getthetea.com. I make it really simple because people will say, oh, geez, I need to get the tea. So getthetea.com. And we actually put a lot of information out there so you know what you're getting. It's not just a product, and then you go, wonder what this is for. All the stuff is explained right there on the website.
Getthetea.com.
Music Drives Us is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization. Since 2006, we have supported hundreds of organizations and performance artists who share a common goal, using music to enrich the lives of others. Thanks to your generosity, New England, we're able to continue our musical mission. And now we've made it even easier and cooler to show your support for Music Drives Us with our signature guitar pick bracelets. Featuring a sleek, beaded black-on-black design, you can rock the look you love to keep music rolling in New England. Purchase yours online for only $10 at musicdrivesus.org. The MDU guitar pick bracelets are also available at James Joseph, Green Tangerine, Corbeau, and Lords and Ladies salons. Music drives us. Does it drive you? Tune in at musicdrivesus.org.
But resist we must. They're all jitty about a shutdown. The tortoise in the race, then co-author of Hubris. U2 lead singer Bono, Fran Drescher, Sigourney Weaver, suspect Jahar Tsarnaev, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Is Mike Muckery yesterday, Antonin Scalia, Kim Kardashian, and the Republican candidates for Cairo and Benghazi. We rank behind Lavita. First stop, Kazakhstan to college students in Beijing. He's getting lunch at Chipotle in Iowa. Maine is appropriate. The GOP's tax day giveaway to millionaires. Why was traffic problems email sent?
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
We are living in some interesting times. Businesses are being bought and sold left and right, so the company you've been doing business with for decades all of a sudden has been replaced by a new company. Why is this important? Well, sir, two of the most important aspects in making a buying decision are the reputation of the manufacturer and the strength of their warranty. As long as the company who made your product is still around and has the same ownership, you generally don't have any worries. But if it's not, or it isn't, and you have a problem, you could find yourself in a who's on first conversation trying to get it resolved. You see, when companies are sold or traded, oftentimes those bulletproof warranties they provided when you bought their product went bye-bye with the previous owners. We here at Matthews Brothers are proud to state that after 164 years, we're not only America's oldest window manufacturer, but we're also one of America's oldest family businesses. So the family business you've been dealing with for decades is the same family business today. Not only that, all our windows and doors come with some of the strongest warranties in the business. So who cares who's on first? You can learn more about our wicked awesome Maine-made windows, but only at Better Lumberyards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
William Henry Harrison commissioned bottles of hard cider in the shape of log cabins as part of his presidential campaign. When James K. Polk was 17, he had surgery to remove gallstones without any anesthesia or antiseptic. Zachary Taylor died suddenly, and while the exact cause of his death is still disputed, some historians think it originated from eating cherries in iced milk. President Franklin Pierce, a Bowdoin guy, was arrested for running over an old woman with his horse. The charges were later dropped. Andrew Johnson was completely hammered at his vice presidential inauguration in 1865. Ulysses S. Grant once got a speeding ticket on his horse. He was fined $20. Rutherford B. Hayes signed the act that allowed women to plead cases before the Supreme Court, making it legal for women to practice in the court system. And they say Rutherford never did anything.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
In summary, the president's overall health is excellent. Okay, with that, I'll take some questions.
How much weight have you suggested the president lose?
Can you assess the president's mental fitness for office?
Cholesterol over 220. Do you hope to get it under 200?
Are you ruling out things like early onset Alzheimer's? Are you looking at dementia-like symptoms?
Did he need to be sedated at all? Or he doesn't have heart disease? Is that what you said?
The 25th Amendment. A lot of people in the country have been talking about it. Do you believe he is fit for duty?
Sometimes it sounds like he has the sniffles when he's talking. Do you have a life expectancy range for him based on his results? Is he limited to one scoop of ice cream now?
So is there anything you're keeping from us for privacy reasons? Are you confident of his prostate health?
I think a waist measurement for the president. His weight, I think he's at 239, right? I think it's just shy of obesity.
It's recommended that most baby boomers get screened for hepatitis C. Did you do a hep C test, or has he had one previously?
Some of the president's friends have told reporters in the past that they think he's a germaphobe, that he washes his hands obsessively. And have you seen any indication of that type of behavior?
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap. But did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
On getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
President who's dominating the headlines on the topic after he referred to some undocumented immigrants as animals.
There can be an MS-13 gang member I know about. If they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about them.
We have people coming into the country or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals.
Now it's starting to make some sense.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
And it is a very slippery slope when you start dehumanizing people this way. It's what the Nazis did. It's what slave owners did. It's not what Americans do.
Calling people animals is not a good thing.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I can't imagine anybody at this table is interested in the relationship with a porn star or anybody else. This is clearly an issue that the American people, unfortunately, it matters to them. It's not a personal, story of some cheap, disgusting affair the president might have had. Unfortunately, we have to talk about this because the president might be a danger.
Unchained and unstoppable.
As FDR once said, I welcome their hatred. I do. And, listen, when I covered Barack Obama, I was just as tough on him. I wanted to ask you about what some people are calling your best week ever.
Man, that's a tough one.
Who do you love? Howie Carr.
Are you favoring the government actually regulating the relationship between CEO pays and the average worker?
I think it's a very good idea, and I think we should start talking about it. But I want to go further than that. I'd like to see shareholders say, wait a minute, what's going on with my dividend?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson, Howie Carr's executive producer, filling in for him today. He is down in Texas to attend the graduation ceremony of one of his daughters. So, again, we wish clear skies and a wonderful ceremony down there, and we hope that he gets that chicken fried steak that he's been talking about, because that's what he loves to get when he goes down there. And, in all the hustle and bustle of today, talking about the leaks that the DOJ has made to the New York Times in an effort to get out in front of a scathing Inspector General report that's coming out. Maybe next week, hopefully next week. I'd love to see that as soon as possible. But in an effort to get out ahead of that, DOJ officials, current and former, are leaking to the New York Times, basically trying to justify the spying campaign they once vociferously denied. There's another story that came out yesterday from Ronan Farrow. Ronan Farrow, the king killer, the guy who began the Me Too movement, writing for the New Yorker because the NBC spiked his story about Harvey Weinstein. Somehow he got a story about Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney. And now we're learning that somebody who works at the Treasury Department leaked Michael Cohen's personal financial records to Ronan Farrow. And these somehow found their way into the hands of Michael Avenatti, the porn lawyer, who was sharing them with various reporters because he thinks that he's going to be the guy who brings down President Trump. It's a crime to leak that information. And now the government official who leaked that information, I suppose I guess he's described in Ronan Farrow's report as a law enforcement official. He's saying that he leaked it because he saw other records related to Cohen disappearing. Considering some of the records he released applied to different Michael Cohens, I'm thinking that he might not be on the level. So yet another crime committed. We have a crime committed against Michael Flynn, and we have a crime committed against now Michael Cohen. It's very interesting how these leaks only go in one direction these days. But we'll do the chump line now. The chump line is the recorded voicemail messaging service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any time, day or night. Leave a message, which we may or may not play right now. We encourage you to leave a pithy message that's relevant to the content of the show, and you have to get past the judicious evaluation of Grace Curley. Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, whose Maine-made windows are available only through Better Lumber Yards and window professionals like Viking Lumber, with 9 locations throughout Mid-Coast and Down East Maine. Viking Lumber. Call us old-fashioned, and we'll say thanks.
Yes, I heard that the name of the head Ukrainian dolphin spy is Igor.
Yeah, this is a funny story we did during Grace's News in the 3 o'clock hour. Apparently, the Ukrainian military has a team of dolphins that are trained to detect mines, to spy on submarines, somehow they're involved in military operations, and now Russia, of course, annexed Crimea, and now these dolphins are going on a hunger strike.
And the Ukraine is saying they did it on purpose.
Oh, that's an awful pun. That's an awful pun. But yeah, no, so they're saying that the dolphins are refusing to eat out of a sheer sense of Ukrainian nationalism.
Don't worry, Grace. Someday your prince will come.
Someday my prince will come?
Yeah.
Royal wedding.
You know,
the royal wedding.
Your fascination with the royal wedding. Come on, when it gets down to it, it's your deep longing to be whisked away by a prince.
I already decided after seeing all the events that Meghan Markle has to sit through. It's a lot of ceremonies. I don't want to be a princess anymore.
Really? By the way, are you got any wedding plans in the future?
No, not right now.
Oh, all right.
Hey, Howie, time to break out the short pants. Get them sexy legs toned up. You got a woman at Fox News now.
For those of you watching us on Newsmax, you might not get the illusion there, but once upon a time, Howie Carr was not as thin as he is now, and he was doing a TV interview with a local news station. He showed up for the interview thinking he was going to be like this, sitting behind a desk. It was not, and he was wearing shorts and sandals.
I don't think that had anything to do with his weight. That's just not very professional.
I guess I just snuck it in there then.
Yeah.
Cheap shot. Boss is away.
Daddy, here's a gooner. I'm watching Howie Cam, and it's very disturbing. We can't see you. All we see is that young whippersnapper, the one who never sends us chicken fingers.
Yeah, you might be the pug's least favorite person out of everyone here at the studio. Because, I mean, I'm not a huge dog person, but I have fed them from time to time. All you do is make fun of them.
Can I tell you, the pugs kind of gross me out. And I know that the mailroom manager is going to work with the pugs to file a discrimination complaint saying that I'm homophobic and I'm racist because the lesbian black pugs aren't my favorite dogs in the world. But the first Thanksgiving, this was like 1 month after I started working for Howie Carr, we actually did a live show on Thanksgiving, and we had Thanksgiving dinner at Howie Carr's house. And it was like 30 minutes after we broke bread, Howie has either Pearl or Gooner in his lap and is like grabbing turkey and feeding it to her.
And the dogs are definitely going.
After 25 years on the air, Howie best be alert and aware. This Robinson guy really makes the show fly. He just might take over the chair.
Hey, that's a good limerick. That's a good limerick.
That might be history of the first time you hosting the show you ever got a complimentary Jump Line message.
That might be. It's groundbreaking. It's groundbreaking. I assure you that there are no plans for a coup d'etat around here. Grace and I are only interested in keeping the peace, and we're here to support the captain and continue to produce excellent television and radio.
You know, when Hillary called me a deplorable, irretrievable, and Barack Obama called me a typical white racist, bitter clanger, I felt a little bit dehumanized.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point. And, you know, a point that I was going to make in the last hour when we were talking about the collapse of the Russia collusion narrative is that a scary thing about it is that the liberals don't care. Like, they don't, if the facts come out, and they are as we think they are, that this was an entire illegitimate, unlawful spying operation attempting to rig a presidential election, they don't care. In fact, they approve of it. Because that's what they think, that Donald Trump's a deplorable, the rest of us are deplorables, we're bitter, clinging, white racists. We shouldn't be kept from power, even if you have to violate the law at the highest levels and abuse government power in order to keep us out. They're just mad that it wasn't successful.
They think the end justifies the means.
Exactly.
Hey, Grace, I was just wondering if Russian collusion is in the current death pool. Let us know, would you?
It should be. I think right now the top runners in the death pool are a lot of the royal family, the Queen and Prince Philip.
Yeah, you get one of these big events out of the way, and what
Don't say that.
I'm just saying, what are they really looking forward to? You have something out there that you're looking forward to.
And then it happens.
Gives you a reason to keep breathing.
Take a breath, Grace. We don't want you exploding just because you're starting to understand what's going on.
I'm sorry. I was impressed by how Steve was laying out the story, and I maybe am one of those people. I did not follow it that closely, and it's amazing. And I'm sorry that I got a little...
Not everybody follow. I mean, we have the luxury of being in a job where we get to follow the news cycle constantly. Sometimes it makes us really crazy. Like you follow the news cycle, assiduously, right? Every day you wake up and you read the newspapers front to back in preparation of this show.
I don't think you really need to read the newspapers anymore. You just read the tweets.
You could read the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal is still pretty reliable most of the time.
I'll take your word for it.
And you watch Newsmax. That's what you do. You watch Newsmax,
and
you
read
read the Wall
Fox.
Street Journal, you follow me and Grace on Twitter, then you're going to have your news. But, people are in and out of their cars. They don't have time. They're deplorables. They're working. They're getting their hands dirty. So they might not be completely updated. So all this is to say, it's a defense of you, Grace, for asking questions for clarification because it's helpful to the listeners and the viewers.
Exactly.
This there is Bill from Chappaqua. I'd like to order me one of them there VIP tickets, the ones that are selling like hotcakes. I don't care too much about being in the studio. I just want to take that there Grace out for a steak dinner. Oh, boy.
No.
So quick question. So you've offered yourself as basically you've also offered yourself on a date to anyone who gets the Father's Day VIP special at HowieCarrshow.com. So my question is, if William Jefferson Clinton showed up here and was like, "Hey, Grace,
that was pretty good.
Let's go out and get some steaks."
No, Howie wouldn't allow it.
I wouldn't. I know I don't really have a say in the matter, but I would at least tail you. I would want to be like your security guard or something.
Whenever Bubba leaves messages about me on the Trump line, Howie always his reaction is, all right. I think it's just too close because that whole scandal, not going to happen.
Steve, Beaver State Finian's calling you a pugophobic.
I think that's plead? I plead guilty. I would add Japanese chins to that list. My mom had a Japanese chin. It's like a long-haired pug. Very ugly dog. The nose is shoved right up into its face. I'm sorry, I prefer real dogs. Like chocolate labs and golden retrievers. American dogs.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You go, girl. You're my hero.
Yeah, maybe if we get a chance later in the show, we'll replay that cut. The fake news scandal of the day is that President Trump called MS-13 death cult gangsters animals. And the liberal media and liberal politicians are defending MS-13 and lying, claiming that President Trump called all immigrants animals. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders' forceful rebuttal of that during the White House press briefing was something to behold.
Hey, does anyone know what kind of service animal Howie tried to smuggle on his flight to Texas?
He was taking American Airlines, and they have restricted certain animals with hooves and horns and husks, so he definitely was not taking any elephants.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the pugs would be allowed, but you know what he might have done is he might have had his illegal immigrant housekeeper Consuela drive to Texas with the pugs.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess Lawrence O'Donnell really doesn't like animals. He was at the zoo the other day yelling at the monkey cage, "Stop the yammering! Stop the yammering!"
Yeah, Lawrence O'Donnell, that beacon of brilliance at MSNBC, he's calling on Christians to rebuke President Trump for calling MS-13 gangbangers animals.
Lovey, it behooves me to say that I can't wait for the royal wedding in which Prince Henry marries Urkel. Think about all the heiresses that'll be there. The royal wedding could be my best chance to win the Gigolo Triple Crown.
I love the John Kerry messages. I don't think he's going to go for three. John Kerry is America's most successful gigolo. I don't think he's got a third one in him.
I thought you were going to say most sexy gigolo. I was nervous for you, Steve.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, whose Maine-made windows are available only through Better Lumberyards and window professionals like Viking Lumber, with 9 locations throughout Mid-Coast and Down East Maine. Viking Lumber. Call us old-fashioned, and we'll say thanks.
After 25 years on the air, Howie best be alert and aware. This Robinson guy really makes the show fly. He just might take over the chair.
All right, we'll be back in a minute after this brief commercial break. We're going to have a great guest coming up, Charles Kessler from the Claremont Review of Books. He's the author of a piece called Thinking About Trump that I think you guys are really going to like. I'll tell you all about it when we come back.
More Howie Carr Show with Steve Robinson after this.
For over 40 years, Skillings & Sons have been the trusted water professionals for water well drilling, water pressure, and water treatment services. Online at skillingsandsons.com. Let's be honest, hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. It makes you self-conscious, erodes your confidence, and causes you to waste years of your life trying to hide, camouflage, and generally obsess over the condition. In short, it pretty much sucks. Until you call DiStefano Hair Restoration and they completely turn your life around with an IGT procedure. Whether you are looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, Dr. Chris Heiness and his team at DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. With the DiStefano difference, balding and hair loss are now optional. And no matter where you are in New England, DiStefano Hair Restoration is just a short drive away. Call now and get a free IGT consultation. Plus, financing is available with payments as low as $119 a month. Just call 1-800-858-HAIR to learn more. That's 1-800-858-HAIR. Or just visit hairman.com.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
The teddy bear got its name from Teddy Roosevelt. During a hunting trip, a guide tied a bear to a tree for the president to shoot, but he refused, stating that it was unsportsmanlike. William Taft was a member of the secret Skull and Bones Society at Yale, which his father co-founded. Woodrow Wilson is the only president to have earned a PhD, and he didn't learn to read until he was 10 years old. Warren Harding drank during Prohibition, had extramarital affairs, and allegedly had a child out of wedlock with a woman who was 31 years his junior. Calvin Coolidge had a pet pygmy hippopotamus named Billy. While living with his uncle on a Native American reservation in Oklahoma, Herbert Hoover learned to make bows and arrows, but he never claimed to be a Cherokee.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to, so I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain, and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about Angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking Angioprim, the pain was gone, and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at naturesyouth.com. Naturesyouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
When the captain's away, Steve and Grace will play. It's the Howie Carr Show.
1-844-500-4242 is the number you can call if you want to join me here on the Howie Carr Show. And after this next break, we're going to be talking with Charles Kessler. He's from the Claremont Review of Books, and he's got an interesting piece out. The Claremont Review of Books, you may recall, is the publication that published the Flight 93 election. This was a piece that was written under a pseudonym, but then Michael Anton, it turned out, was the person who wrote it, and he was, for a time, a member of the Trump administration on the national security team. And the argument that he put forward was that this election was basically like you were on Flight 93 during the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and you had to make the decision, were you going to rush the cockpit? And the election of Hillary Clinton was essentially, a disaster, a successful terrorist attack. Everybody was going to die anyways, so you might as well take a chance and rush the cockpit. And the act of rushing the cockpit was voting for Donald Trump. Very controversial essay at the time. It came to light for most people when Rush Limbaugh dedicated almost an entire show to it. And now this is kind of a follow-up essay that he's published called Thinking About Trump, when he kind of examines the forces and factors that were at play in the election and are now, still, I guess, being debated amongst the left-wingers and the never-Trumpers. And basically the argument that he's making is that the never-Trumpers, the holdouts, the people who have not been converted or persuaded or brought over, and the Moonbats still don't really understand President Trump. And they focus a lot on some of his vices. He likes to eat McDonald's. He likes beautiful women. He can be wrathful on Twitter. But what Charles Kessler is trying to do is draw out two important virtues that have been a key to President Trump's success. And I'm reading now from his piece. He had two conspicuous virtues that his Republican opponents, and Hillary Clinton too, lacked. One was a sense of humor. To address rallies for an hour and a half at a time off the cuff and keep them laughing is very hard to do. His humor was not gentlemanly or self-deprecating like Reagan's. It was cutting, bold, outrageous, and usually at the expense of his opponents in the press. But Trump connected with his audience as Reagan did because each spoke as a citizen to fellow citizens, without a trace of the policy expert's condescension, cosmopolitanism, or crocodile tears. The press never got Trump's humor. I think that's a really understated point in just any kind of analysis of, the media and their treatment of the president. They've never got his sense of humor. And I don't, part of me wants to think that they're just, turds and they just don't have good sense, well-formed senses of humor themselves. But also I think that they can kind of weaponize and attack him by intentionally not getting a joke. But that's a very important point that he makes. And the second virtue, Trump's second virtue, writes Charles Kessler, was a kind of courage in defense of one's own. This was a courage never tested in war or physical emergency, to be sure, but it was a large and impressive political fact. He was prepared to stand up for his family, his company, his campaign, his country, and for his country's jobs, workers, factories, and products. Courage never demands that one be perfect or morally pure, and he isn't, so this virtue fit his rhetorical needs and strength. So we'll talk with Charles Kessler about this. There's a lot more to unpack here. I think you guys are going to enjoy this. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this break. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr. Back after this.
Have you seen the Skillings & Sons fleet of trucks on the road? This is Howie Carr. Are you ready for better water pressure and water quality? Or is it time to put your irrigation system on your own well? Skillings & Sons has the fleet of trucks and expert technicians that get the job done right the first time. For over 40 years, Skillings & Sons have been the trusted water professionals. Learn more about water well drilling, water pressure, and water treatment services online at skillingsandsons.com. That's skillingsandsons.com. May is here, and that means two things, graduations and Mother's Day. Nothing says love like a wonderful rosé or champagne for Mom, and Liquor & More has just what you need. Avoid long grocery lines and visit them in Plymouth, Orleans, Bourne, Venice, Yarmouth, and now open again, Wellfleet. For graduation parties, you can take advantage of their delivery service. Go to their site at liquorandmore.com to see their variety. Liquor & More has just what you need. Liquor & More, a proud sponsor of life's memorable moments.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. He's Howie Carr.
We will bring over your entire family from the third world Muslim hellhole that they live in so that they can have an all-expenses-paid, taxpayer-funded with open bar weekend at a nice hotel in Boston, get a nice sightseeing tour, maybe take them to Fenway Park for a game so they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the President of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship. It's just authoritarian now, but let's call it Red China.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
But resist we much. We must. They're all jitty about a shutdown. The tortoise in the race. Then co-author of Hubris. U2 lead singer Bono. Fran Drescher. Sigourney Weaver. Suspect Jahar Tsarnaev. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Is Mike Muckery yesterday. Antonin Scalia. Kim Kardashian and the Republican candidates for Cairo and Benghazi. We rank behind Lavita. First stop, Kazakhstan to college students in Beijing. He's getting lunch at Chipotle in Iowa. Maine is appropriate. The GOP's tax day giveaway to millionaires. Why was traffic problems email sent?
Celebrating 25 years on the air, this is the Howie Carr Show.
I didn't tell them, I promise I did not tell them to use that word. That's been a very lucky word for me and many millions of people.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson, Howie Carr's executive producer, filling in for him today. Howie is away in Texas, but the poll question is still here. Today's poll question is brought to you by Howie Carr's Father's Day special. Howie's offering a limited number of Father's Day VIP experiences. Just 100 of these are going to be available, and they're already moving fast. Give this to your dad, and he'll get to come watch the show live. He'll get a set of Howie's books. He'll get a mug. He'll get a bobblehead. He'll get to slam some pizza with me and Grace. It'll be a great time. There's magic in the air here in the Matthews Brothers studio. It's a great gift if your dad loves Howie Carr. Get it now at howiecarrshow.com. howiecarrshow.com.
Ooh, we're going to get a pizza?
Yeah, I was thinking pizza. I know it's usually like a Kowloon's Chinese food kind of deal, but I was thinking za.
Yeah, I'm down for some za, some veggie.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know. As the executive producer, I think I can maybe make the call that it's going to be pizza instead of Chinese food. Yes. I don't know. You rarely eat pizza, though. I don't know why you're so excited about this.
I know, but on a Friday, Pizza Fridays were always a thing.
We get pizza all the time, and you're like, oh, no, I can't.
Well, Steve,
I had a crouton this morning.
I'm trying to keep my girlish figure here.
All right, Grace Curley, what is the poll question, and what are the results thus far?
Should the Mooch and Michael Avenatti get their own TV show?
No, absolutely not. I think this would be a very, very bad idea for the American Republic. I don't want them getting a show at all.
It's increased. 87% say no way.
Okay, good. You know, so there's a story in the New York Times that broke earlier. Maggie Haberman, I think, is one of the reporters on it, that they've been shopping around this idea to two different big TV networks, that Anthony Scaramucci and Stormy Daniels' porn lawyer are going to have a show together. Sadly, I think that it would be very likely to have high ratings, just given my understanding of American political culture. But we're trying to get now Charles Kessler from the Claremont Review of Books on the line. He's got an amazing piece that I just tweeted out at. You can follow me at BigSteve207, and he's talking about something that really is not talked about a lot in political circles when you're talking about President Trump, and that's the virtues that President Trump has. And the first virtue that he notes is a sense of humor. And, not since going back to Ronald Reagan have we had a president who was so, acutely in touch with the audience that he was talking with. And when you talk about, President Trump's sense of humor, one of the first things I think about, and it's something that Howie references frequently, it's when he was in Massachusetts for one of these big rallies. And, this was in the heat of the campaign, the primary campaign, I believe. And he's at the Paul Tongass Arena, I believe. He's got just a packed house. And, of course, there are protesters. And he starts saying something about food stamp reform, welfare reform, and or the high number of people who have been enrolled in the SNAP program thanks to President Obama and the sucky economy. And this protester gets up and starts yelling and screaming and making a scene. And the guy was kind of overweight. And President Trump says, "Is it any coincidence that as soon as I started talking about food stamp reform, that guy starts making a scene and he's seriously overweight?" And people were laughing uproariously. And that was something that, could you ever see Ted Cruz making a joke like that? Could you ever see Hillary Clinton making a joke like that? I mean, Hillary Clinton's sense of humor was limited to, I don't think she ever made a joke that wasn't, poll tested and scripted and, very sterile. I remember when her campaign was trying to use Pokemon Go, that phone video game, to somehow, bring people out to the polls. And she said, "Pokemon Go, vote for me." Wah, wah.
But Steve, it's also it's just a matter of being personable and not being afraid to. I think a lot of politicians are so afraid they're going to get misquoted, which Trump often does, that they won't say anything at all. Like they won't try to make any jokes. Even a couple of days ago, there was this really sweet moment that basically no one except for Fox showed, that it was this older woman. And Trump was at a ceremony honoring a cop that was killed in the line of duty.
Yeah, this was the old black lady whose son was killed.
Right. And even then, he made a joke. "Oh, she asked me not to tell everyone she's 90 years old, but you got to look at her. She looks like she could be 50. She got up those stairs faster than I could." It's just not being afraid to crack a joke like any guy his age would. And it makes him really likable.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, when we went down in January and broadcast from the White House, that was my first chance meeting the president in person. And the entire time he was wisecracking and making jokes, even when we were on air, his sense of humor was apparent then. Like he looked at me and he saw that I was cracking up about some joke that he'd made about Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. And he saw that I was laughing and he winked at me. So, I mean, he has he has just a very, I guess, an instinctive understanding of his audience. And then
I promised I wouldn't tell you that she's 90 years old, but you know what? She is really something, right? You look like 55, maybe? 55? Huh? Boy, I'll tell you what. You got up those stairs better than I did.
No, it is. I mean, so I think Kessler's right in this piece when he talks about the president. One of his virtues is his sense of humor, and that the press really to this day still don't understand his sense of humor. And again, we're trying to get him on the line here. We had an interview set up with him, but he's not picking up his phone right now. But I'll let you know. We'll cut to him if he does get him. But so the other virtue that Kessler pegs is a sense of courage and defense of one's own. And you know, you really see it when it comes out to his just unapologetic defense of America. And you know, there's this kind of, I guess, places him in conflict with several elements of the left. I mean, we've seen that President Trump is up against the social justice warrior movement that is apparent on college campuses. We've seen that, you know, he's up against the statist left. You know, the people who want to grow government, the people who think that government is the solution to all of our problems. You know, the Bernie Sanders crowd who thinks that we need Medicare for all, that the minimum wage should be $15 an hour and the maximum wage should be like, $200,000 an hour. We've seen him up against those, but what he really powerfully confronted was this trend or theme in the American left that is just pure anti-Americanism. And what I really, Kessler gets into this in his piece again that I tweeted out, and if you follow me at BigSteve207, you can see that and read it. It's a great piece, and I really wanted to ask him about this theme of anti-Americanism in the new left, because I guess if you go back to like the hippie generation when the Vietnam War was happening and people were being drafted to go and fight in a faraway land, you could kind of understand the genesis of the anti-American sentiment, kind of. I'm not necessarily saying that it was a good thing or it was right, but you could at least understand it. But now the anti-Americanism of the modern left seems to be very much domestic policy. Yes, you could say that it's a reaction against the Bush-era wars in the Middle East, but nowadays it really seems like people hate what America is domestically. Liberals don't like what America is domestically. And when President Trump got up there and said, no, America, we're going to make America great again. There is something about America that can and should aspire to be noble, and that we can be noble. That this project is not something to be ashamed of. And it's just, I think it's salubrious. It's very healthy to stand up against anti-American forces in our culture, in our politics, and in our media. And those are two things: the sense of humor that he's brought back to politics, at least on the right, and this courage and defense of the American experiment. I think in the long run, it's going to be very beneficial for us all. Looks like we're not going to be able to get Charles Kessler on, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get him on tomorrow, but we'll go out to the phone lines now. Mark, you're next on this with Steve filling in for Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mark.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, you remember what Obama said when he went to that ceremony for the cops that were shot?
I'm not sure which ceremony it was. I'm sure that it was something that's going to make me grit my teeth. Go ahead, Mark.
Actually, it's a trick question. I don't ever remember him going to a ceremony for a shot cop, that idiot.
Yeah, you know, there's something to be said for that, Mark. You're right. I mean, the only ceremony I can think of that President Trump went to that involved a law enforcement officer was Obama went to was the beer summit, after he said that the Cambridge police acted stupidly. But no, you've got a good point. I mean, the animus towards police officers certainly peaked under President Obama due to some of his rhetoric and the lack of his defense of the men in blue. That's for sure. And we're not seeing that under President Trump. You know, the courage that he has shown in defending law enforcement officers, the American military, is something that we did not see under the Obama administration. Nick, you're next on this with Steve Robinson filling in for Howie Carr. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Steve, how you doing? You'd mentioned a bit earlier in the show about the Pakistani investigation. Well, unfortunately, since 2003, Washington Schultz's brother has been a fixture at that Washington, D.C. Metro office. That's where that case will go.
Yeah, I've read about that. You know, there's some debate over his power to kill that investigation. You know, I would assume that if he really was powerful in that office, that we wouldn't know as much as we already know, Nick.
Well, yeah, what I was getting at, Steve, is, those referrals that, just a little bit step higher here. Those referrals that Horowitz put in for that office primarily, I would say that's Yates and some of those people, their matters are referred there. Well, now we're going to see just how corrupt or uncorrupt Rosenstein and Sessions are, they control that office.
Yeah.
So obviously whatever Schultz does would be with the approval or disapproval, if you will, of the people running that show.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call, Nick. I appreciate that. Yeah. You know what? There's not a shred of my being that thinks that Jeff Sessions is corrupt. And, you know, I've said it before when I fill in for Howie, and I won't go into the long spiel again, but I think that when the history books are written, Jeff Sessions will be one of the best cabinet picks that President Trump made. You know, he's working, he's not showy, but he's working behind the scenes and things are getting done. Just think about how much we know about the Department of Justice corruption, FBI corruption, and, you know, Jeff Sessions may have recused himself from the Russia investigation, but things are headed in a positive direction. And when this IG report comes out, I think, you know, you got to give Jeff Sessions some time, and you got to give him a little bit of credit, I think. But I won't go into my full-throated defense of the man. I know that it's trendy among conservatives to say that Jeff Sessions isn't doing his job and he's a member of the deep state, but he's been a guest on the show frequently. We've met him down in Washington, D.C., and my read of the man is that he is good and honorable, and that he is one of the most powerful allies that President Trump has.
Yeah, and also, if he wasn't doing a good job behind the scenes, Trump would have gotten rid of him by now. He has no problem. I mean, he's done it to several other picks.
He did it to Rex Tillerson. You know, he did it to Rex Tillerson. And I think that, you know, part of me, my conspiracy theory is a lot of this kind of public drama, you know, Trump versus Sessions, it's a little bit of a distraction. There's a little bit of a theater going on there so that the Democrats, the deep state, don't get wise to what's actually happening when they pull the curtain back on this thing. We're going to take a quick break. We'll take more of your calls on the other side. 1-844-500-4242. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr. Back after this.
More Howie Carr Show with Steve Robinson after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Ken's Place in Scarborough, Maine. Stop by today and have some of my favorite, the world-famous batter-dipped fried clams. It's been more than 2 years now since I had the sleeve procedure at Newton Wellesley Hospital's Weight Loss Center. I've kept the 100 pounds off, and I'm so happy. I feel better and I look better. I just cleaned out my clothes closet, getting rid of all those XLs and even double XLs I know I'll never fit into again. Thank goodness. If you're thinking about finally losing all that extra weight, now is the time. Call Newton Wellesley Hospital's Weight Loss Center at 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. I talked to so many people who've had the procedure, and not one of them has ever said to me, Howie, I wish I'd waited a little longer to lose all this weight. Don't procrastinate any longer. Make 2018 the year you get your health back. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. Don't procrastinate any longer. Whatever your age, whatever your gender, do it. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
Although Thomas Jefferson and John Adams are recognized as founding fathers, neither of them attended the Constitutional Convention, and neither of them actually signed the document. George Washington and John Madison were the only presidents who signed the United States Constitution. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson once went to see William Shakespeare's home in 1786. They then ripped off a piece of Shakespeare's chair with a knife to take home as a memento. Did you know that Thomas Jefferson invented the swivel chair? James Madison was a little guy. He weighed under 100 pounds and was only 5'4". Little James. John Quincy Adams and Herbert Hoover both had pet alligators. Andrew Jackson once taught his parrot how to curse. It was so bad the parrot had to be removed from Jackson's funeral for swearing too much. Martin Van Buren was the first United States president to be born a citizen of the United States, but his first language was Dutch because he grew up in the Dutch part of New York called Kinderhook.
Ew, yuck. They're unhealthy. Bugs. I hate bugs. Our home is clean, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. From contact, it kills bugs. Plus, Orange Guard kills hidden bugs and keeps new bugs away for weeks. The ingredients in Orange Guard are on the FDA generally regarded as safe list. So Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard. Available at orangeguard.com and Ace Hardware.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to. So I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain, and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking angioprim, the pain was gone, and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com, or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
Filling in for a vacationing Howie Carr, it's New England's favorite guest host. It's Steve Robinson.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. It is I, Steve Robinson, sitting in the big chair for Howie Carr. We got full lines here with people who want to talk about this, about President Trump and the dual virtues that Charles Kessler pointed up. Both of his sense of comedy and his courage in defending, America. Just an unrelenting defense of America. And the police and the military, the national anthem in the face of these NFL punks who want to kneel. But I got a few quick stories I want to get off the desk before we get to the phone lines at 1-844-500-4242. Pit bulls in the news. Florida boy 4 attacked twice by pit bull in a Winn-Dixie parking lot.
They're just a human being.
A 4-year-old boy in Tampa was airlifted to a local hospital on Friday after he was mauled by a pit bull in the parking lot of a Winn-Dixie. The dog's owner tried to pull the dog away, but the canine attacked him a second time and bit off a piece of his cheek. The 4-year-old pit bull named Sage has been quarantined at the county's animal services and will stay there until May 21st. The dog's owner, by the last name of Taylor, told WFTS that she plans to get Sage back and wishes the child well.
They should put that dog down.
Absolutely, they should put that dog down. I may be pugophobic, and I may have made fun of my mom's Japanese chin, Chloe. Sorry, Chloe. Rest in peace.
Steve's dealing with a lot of drama right now in his own life after he made fun of his mother's dog.
Mom's a little pissed off that I didn't like Chloe, but it's a smushed up face dog. It's just not. It's not my
cute.
ideal archetype of a dog. But say what you will about pugs and Japanese chins, they're never going to maul a 4-year-old child in a parking lot of a Winn-Dixie. It's a peculiar thing that pit bulls do.
By the way, if anyone's wondering, my favorite dog, corgis. And I've had a lot of Howie's listeners.
Oh my God! This
send
is just
me
your fascination with British royal family.
I really
That's what
genuinely
this is.
love corgis, and people send me the pictures of their corgis all the time. Keep sending them; they're so cute.
So this is a story that I wanted to get to from the New York Times. Headline: He was a tireless critic of the Iran deal. Now he insists he wanted to save it. So I don't really want to read the story to you. It's about a guy named Mark Dubowitz who runs a think tank called the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. What I'm really interested in reading to you is the correction. This is the correction of all corrections added to the bottom of the story. An earlier version of this article referred imprecisely to the salary of Mark Dubowitz, the chief executive of Foundation for Defense of Democracies, when compared with those of leaders of other Washington think tanks. Mr. Dubowitz's $560,000 compensation in 2016 was determined by the foundation's board of directors and is commensurate with the average annual salary of other think tank leaders in Washington in recent years. It is not nearly twice as much as the salaries of his counterparts. The article also inaccurately linked the foundation to Israel's Likud party. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. While the think tank does align with some of Likud's positions, it is not directly involved with the party. The article also referred imprecisely to the funding of conferences held by the foundation and the Hudson Institute, while Elliot Brody provided $2.7 million in funds for consulting, marketing, and other services. The foundation says it only received $360,000 from Mr. Brody for one conference.
It probably would have taken them less time if they had just written a little asterisk of everything that didn't need to be corrected.
Is that it? Oh, man. The reporter on that story, by the way, is named Gardner Harris. Gardner Harris. Maybe pin down some facts before you go and smear somebody. All right.
Very fake news.
We'll go back out to the phone lines. Lou in Maryland. You're next with Steve Robinson filling in for Howie Carr. Go ahead, Lou.
I'm not in Maryland. I'm in Rhode Island, but thanks anyway.
Oh, sorry. The screen says Maryland. Whatever. I'm sorry for spreading fake news, Lou. Go ahead.
I can go back to the left 60s when I was younger, and you know, the Vietnam War was basically used as a pretext to try to insert the left into democratic politics and to the Democratic Party even more than it was. If you look at the history of the left, it goes way back, even before the 30s, and to Walter Duranty, who defended Stalin prior to World War II, when Stalin was killing people in the Ukraine.
And the New York Times has never given back Duranty's Pulitzer.
Right, but here's the point: what do they hate? What does Trump stand for? And you have to break it down into the elements of what Trump stands for. He basically stands for American individual liberties, freedoms, capitalism, strong borders, keeping jobs in the United States. He stands for the flag, the police, still having a strong military.
An end to this third world welfare, which makes the problems of these decrepit third world countries the problems of American taxpayers.
Well, here's the point: unlimited government. What the left stands for now is really a major style of a European-style union internationalism. Countries without borders.
Yeah, no, hey, Lou, I agree. Sorry, we're up against a hard break here. Definitely call again. That was a good call. Coming up next, we're going to have a fascinating story from rural Maine, where I grew up. I think you guys will really appreciate this one. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr. Back after this.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papageorge, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
Our military members embark on a mission of protection and service to a nation and people they love. When returning home, things don't always go as planned. There are over 50,000 veterans homeless in America. The DV Farm in Gilson, New Hampshire is giving some of these veterans a second chance at a new mission, integrating back into society. Without state or federal funding, the DV Farm relies solely on your donations. Please make a tax-deductible donation to dvfarm.org today. One homeless veteran is too many. Let's complete this mission together.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
The only French term I like is sans culotte, without trousers. I used to describe Ted Kennedy as sans culotte because after the O'Bar incident, when he was wandering around down on the beach with his 20th Scotch tumbler of the day in his hand, stumbling around with an off. He was just there, as the Michel Casson, Patches Date said, he was just there without trousers. Or as we say in Paris, sans culotte.
We've seen nothing that we can work, that I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed because I thought that there might be some interest because of what he said in the campaign.
President Bush, this is your brain. This is your brain on Botox. Okay? That's the lesson of that one.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
We are all going to die. And we all joke about him destroying the world, but this could be it.
That means record heat, more drought in some places.
We could see the seas continue to rise.
Their kids will have worse asthma.
Torrential rains and floods in other places.
We could see flooding in major cities.
They will have a harder time having economic growth.
Sea level rising, drowning coastal areas.
Deadlier heat waves would be more abundant with
droughts and floods.
Coal sludge back into rivers and lakes.
We've seen droughts, wildfires.
How tens of thousands of people die annually.
Mass extinction in the natural world.
This was a fault on the part of Donald Trump against humanity.
Sea level rise is happening. That's a scientific fact.
And this man is wrecking the planet.
Low-lying countries such as the Marshall Islands would disappear entirely.
The world will be a mess.
Donald Trump may have doomed the planet.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
William Henry Harrison commissioned bottles of hard cider in the shape of log cabins as part of his presidential campaign. When James K. Polk was 17, he had surgery to remove gallstones without any anesthesia or antiseptic. Zachary Taylor died suddenly, and while the exact cause of his death is still disputed, some historians think it originated from eating cherries in iced milk. President Franklin Pierce, a Bowdoin guy, was arrested for running over an old woman with his horse. The charges were later dropped. Andrew Johnson was completely hammered at his vice presidential inauguration in 1865. Ulysses S. Grant once got a speeding ticket on his horse. He was fined $20. Rutherford B. Hayes signed the act that allowed women to plead cases before the Supreme Court, making it legal for women to practice in the court system. And they say Rutherford never did anything.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply and, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
President who's dominating the headlines on the topic after he referred to some undocumented immigrants as animals.
There could be an MS-13 gang member I know about. If they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about them.
We have people coming into the country or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals.
Now it's starting to make some sense.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
And it is a very slippery slope when you start dehumanizing people this way. It's what the Nazis did. It's what slave owners did. It's not what Americans do.
Calling people animals is not a good thing.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I can't imagine anybody at this table is interested in the president's personal relationship with a porn star or anybody else. This is clearly an issue that the American people, unfortunately, it matters to them. It's not a personal, story of some cheap, disgusting affair the president might have had. Unfortunately, we have to talk about this because the president might be a danger.
Unchained and unstoppable.
As FDR once said, I welcome their hatred. I do. And, listen, when I covered Barack Obama, I was just as tough on him. I wanted to ask you about what some people are calling your best week ever.
Man, that's a tough one.
Who do you love? Howie Carr.
Are you favoring the government actually regulating the relationship between CEO pays and the average worker?
I think it's a very good idea, and I think we should start talking about it. I think, but I want to go further than that. I'd like to see shareholders say, wait a minute, what's going on with my dividend?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson, Howie's executive producer, filling in for him for another hour tonight. He's down in Texas. He'll be back on Monday. And as some of you know, I was born and raised in Maine, central northern Maine, in a little town called Dexter. And the next story that I want to share with you guys actually comes from Dexter. It was a Bangor Daily News story that caught my eye, and I wanted to get one of the guys involved in the story on. The title is Rural Maine Landlord Offering Free Rent Finds Attracting Business is Still a Tough Sell. And now some of you who aren't familiar with Dexter, you might recall Dexter Shoes. It was a factory in Maine, in Dexter, that employed around 800 people. And in the end of the 90s, it was bought by Warren Buffett. And he tried to basically outsource the operation to Puerto Rico, I believe, and then ultimately China. It failed because they couldn't make as good of shoes as the people in Dexter did. But in 2001, 800 jobs up and disappeared. And you can imagine what kind of devastating impact that has on a rural community in Maine. It's about an hour northwest of Bangor, Maine. And now the school system is actually the largest employer in the town, so it's struggling economically despite the very low unemployment rate they have in the state of Maine, despite some of the tremendous good news about the economy that has come about as a result, I think, of Governor Paul LePage. But it's still struggling, and this is just one indication of it, and it's a fascinating story. I'll just read a little bit of it. A Dexter business owner is offering a newly rehabbed restaurant space in the heart of town at a deep discount. Free rent and free taxes, no taxes for a year as part of a 5-year lease. So basically, if you're interested in starting a restaurant, there's this space right on Main Street in the middle of town, and you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to pay property taxes, and all you have to pay is utilities, and you can start a restaurant there. And it's been rehabbed. It has a brick oven pizza. It's got a brick pizza oven. It's got a walk-in freezer. It's got, basically everything you would need to go in there and start a nice little pizza place or a restaurant or something like that. And the owner of it can't find anyone willing to come in there and start a business. It's 2,300 square feet, and it's also got office space up above it. So joining me now on the line is Frank Spizzuko. He's the owner of this. He's trying to lead a charge to get some economic redevelopment going in Dexter, and he's made, I think, an unprecedented decision to offer this kind of leasing term where you don't pay any rent for the first year, and he still can't get any takers. Frank Spizzuko, what the hell is going on, and why can't you find some entrepreneurial spirit in Dexter, Maine, willing to take over this space and turn it into a thriving business?
Locally it's been tough, but, since I started the whole free rent thing, I have about 4 good prospects that they have an existing business and they're looking to expand, or they have the background, they just don't have the financial backing to do it. But I've got a really positive response, so things are actually looking pretty good at this point.
So, what do you think is at play in Dexter that you would have to make this kind of unprecedented offer of no rent for 1 year? I mean, what is going on? I mean, I know that the school is the biggest employer there, and that's usually not a good sign. And then there's really no industry there. But what do you think is going on? It seems that places like Portland and Bangor are really thriving. Lewiston, Auburn are really thriving. Is it just a geographic thing, or is there something else going on?
No, I mean, I think. I just don't want to sit on it. I developed a mill, and the mill is cranking right now. I purposed into a it's a multi-use facility now. It's full. So I've had the new property on Main Street, the restaurant, since the fall last year. I just want to move on, to the next project. I want to be gone with it. But apparently, in the real estate business, sometimes you got to sit on stuff, for months and months. But being a surplus dealer, my mentality's been, when in doubt, move it out, mark it down, let's go next project. So I've just, I want to get really aggressive, and I know what it's like to start a business. And I think offering, those kind of incentives of what towns need to do, and the towns that do it, drive business, they create jobs, and it helps towns. So that's kind of where I'm at on that, and hopefully it'll work.
And as some of you may know if you're from Maine, but for those of you outside of Maine don't know, Frank Spizzuko, he runs Maine Military Surplus, which I think you have a location in Brewer. And do you have a location in Newport still?
Well, I started in Newport, and then I moved it over to Holden, and I bought the property there. And ironically, I sold it in January. I kept the property, but I sold the business. So
Oh, okay.
So now I've been focusing everything on, trying to make these changes in Dexter.
All right, so Frank, if somebody is listening to us now and they think, hey, no rent, no taxes for 1 year, I can go up to this nice town up in the middle of Maine and start a business. It's a great opportunity for somebody. How can they get in touch with you if they're interested in making you an offer?
They can call my cell is 207-557-9642. I'm on Facebook. You can Google me, my name, or it pops up with a business Maine Military Supply. I'm pretty easy to find. So yeah, that shouldn't be an issue finding me.
All right, great. Well, I hope you can work this out, because it seems like it's a great opportunity for some entrepreneur to come along and start like a brew pub or something. Dexter Brew Pub. Brew some beer up in Dexter and have a successful business. It boggles my mind that with an offer like that, you don't have people banging down your door to try and take you up on that, Frank.
Well, it's only been it's been about 3 days, and I've had, I probably have been in contact with about a dozen people, and, probably 4 really positive, hopeful leads that it could work. So,
all right. Well, I hope
we'll see. You never know.
I hope it works out for you, Frank. And thanks for joining us here tonight on the Howie Carr Show. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Have a good night. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of your calls. We've got Jessica Vaughn from the Center for Immigration Studies will come up later. There's a local story here in Boston of some sanctuary city politics at play on Beacon Hill that I think you'll be interested in. And as always, we'll take more of your calls at 1-844-500-4242. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr. This is the Howie Carr Show.
Steve Robinson returns after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is powered by Elizabeth Crampton. Find the best buyer for your home or find your new home with Elizabeth Crampton at FindBostonLiving.com. FindBostonLiving.com. Let's be honest, hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. It makes you self-conscious, erodes your confidence, and causes you to waste years of your life trying to hide, camouflage, and generally obsess over the condition. In short, it pretty much sucks. Until you call DiStefano Hair Restoration, and they completely turn your life around with an IGT procedure. Whether you are looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, Dr. Chris Heiness and his team at DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. With the DiStefano difference, balding and hair loss are now optional. And no matter where you are in New England, DiStefano Hair Restoration is just a short drive away. Call now and get a free IGT consultation. Plus, financing is available with payments as low as $119 a month. Just call 1-800-858-HAIR to learn more. That's 1-800-858-HAIR. Or just visit hairman.com.
So the cloud hanging over Donald Trump as he becomes president of the United States, especially when it comes to foreign policy, has to do with Russia. Obviously, a lot of unanswered questions.
More now on the cloud that seems to be hanging over the Trump administration.
That cloud hanging over the administration, continued questions.
Because this has been the cloud hanging over the Trump administration.
There's more breaking news on the cloud of suspicion hanging over this White House.
The Russia cloud hanging over the Trump administration.
And the Russia cloud doesn't appear to be moving out of Washington.
Now to that other dark cloud hanging over the Trump administration, the Russia investigations.
The Russia probe is the dark cloud on the horizon.
If Bob Mueller and this cloud of the Russia investigation.
But with the dark cloud of the Russia investigation hanging over him.
And it's been this cloud that's been hanging over the presidency of Donald Trump.
But hanging over it all, the darkening cloud.
President Trump is really eager to get the cloud of Russia that's hanging over the White House away from him.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Filling in the big shoe, it's Steve Robinson.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson filling in for Howie Carr. The number, if you want to be a part of the program, is 1-844-500-4242. And earlier in the program, during one of the Newsmax hours, I was reading to you from an essay called Thinking About Trump by Charles Kessler from the Claremont Review of Books. And we weren't able to get Mr. Kessler on the program, but we have him now calling us from California. Mr. Kessler, thank you for being on the Howie Carr Show.
Yes. Hi, how are you? I apologize for my non-appearance.
Oh, that's all right. Everybody leaves their ringer off once in a while. So your essay is called Thinking About Trump, and I read some portions of it earlier, and it's available if you want to follow me on Twitter at BigSteve207, or you can just go to the Claremont Review of Books, their website. And I guess when I was reading it, one question came up because I was perusing National Review today, and Victor Davis Hanson has a column out about the rehabilitation of Republican presidents. You see this in the liberal media now. All of a sudden, George Bush is remembered fondly by the same people who once compared him to Hitler. But I think in you kind of get into this in your column. The opposite has occurred on the right under President Donald Trump. It seems like President Donald Trump, one of the things he's managed to accomplish is that conservatives are no longer required to knee-jerk defend President Bush in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and more people are really coming around to have like a Rand Paul view of the Bush administration.
Yes, I think it's the reevaluation, if you want to call it that, of the Bush administrations, and really of the whole period from George H.W. Bush succeeding Reagan to Jeb Bush. So that's a long period of time. I think ordinary Republican voters are reevaluating that period, and they don't like what they see very much. George W. Bush had a tough row to hoe with 9/11, of course, and he rose to that occasion and to many other occasions quite well. But still, somehow, overall, I think his administration's add up to disappointment, and to some Republicans, I think they add up to a kind of failure. And one of the things that Trump is about, and one of the things that's sort of interesting in our politics now, is Republicans are turning their back on that establishment and are looking.
Oh, and with the phone line just cut out on us. I don't know what's going on today with the cell phones. Sometimes it happens, especially when I'm filling in. The number, if you want to be a part of the program, is 1-844-500-4242. So in his essay, we'll try and get Mr. Kessler back, but in his essay, one of the things he talks about is a concept that Michael Barone, another conservative thinker, came up with in a book called Hard America and Soft America. And he writes that hard America is shaped by the marketplace forces of competition and accountability. Soft America is the realm of public schools, self-esteem, and government social programs. The latter, according to Barone, produces incompetent and unambitious 18-year-olds. The former, hard-charging and adaptable 30-year-olds. Somehow, uneasily, modern America includes both. Donald Trump considers himself a kind of ambassador from hard America to soft America. Many, not all, of the asperities or harshness of his character are related to his career path. He calls himself a builder, and in America, a nation of builders. He knows his way around a construction site, and his virtues and vices skew hard towards brazen masculine world of getting things built quickly, durably, beautifully, and if possibly, and in any case, profitably. Mr. Kessler, I think we got you back now. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you mean when you use, I guess, Michael Barone's terminology of hard America and soft America?
Well, I think Donald Trump is an unusual president because he's had no political experience or military experience. And so we're not used to dealing with someone who has come into the presidency as an entry-level position. But that's a strange position that we find ourselves in. But he comes from it from a very successful and very famous business. But that business was essentially a family business. It was his marquee. Trump is on many wonderful buildings around the country and around the world. But his experience was not the usual sort of Fortune 500 big business experience. He didn't report to a board of directors. He didn't report to shareholders. He didn't have to raise money from capital markets in regular ways. And so he's used to running his own show. He's used to being a hard-charging, wildcatting kind of entrepreneurial businessman. And he brings the same habits, because they're the only habits he can bring, into the presidency. And in particular, his neighborhood in what Michael Barone called hard America is sort of the construction and buildings business. And he's used to a kind of brazen, masculine, challenging set of virtues, and maybe even set of vices. And those he is unapologetic about. And the origin of his political incorrectness, I think, has to do in part with his career path, with the fact that he comes from business. In business, you have to succeed. The numbers mean something. You have to perform. It's not all talk. You have to actually do something. And that gives him his peculiar, and I think at least refreshing, take on political correctness and on sort of the world of Washington talk. And I think that's been very difficult for Washington to adjust to, but it has been sort of inspiring for the country at large.
We're talking with Charles Kessler from the Claremont Review of Books. He's got He's got a fabulous essay out called "Thinking About Trump," which I encourage you to find online and read. One of the things you write, Mr. Kessler, and we're running out of time here, but I did want to get you on this, is that Trump has his eye on the contemporary left's extremism, but this is not so much the statist left that the libertarians oppose, nor the values and autonomy left resisted by the religious right, but the anti-American left. And so I just really quickly, I want to get your take on, is there a continuous line from the anti-American left of the 1960s to the anti-American left of today, or are we dealing with a different animal here in the people who will kneel for the national anthem, and the people who think that domestically where this is a racist, deplorable, to use a word, nation?
Well, there is a direct line. Most easily expressed by the fact that the children of the 1960s have become the professors of today. And the professors of today are teaching the students of today, and the high school teachers and grade school teachers of tomorrow. And the result is a kind of transmission of 60s radicalism into today's radicalism. However, I would say they do have very different emphases. At least in the beginning of the 1960s, the radicals were idealistic. I mean, they were inspired by the civil rights movement. There was a sort of genuine concern to reform America and to atone for America's racial and other sins in the past. Today, I think they're much more radical, more extreme than they were in the 60s, because they've turned their back on idealism, basically. They've turned their back on the idea that you could save America, or that you could redeem America, that you could make America live up to its promises, because they don't believe in the promises anymore. They don't really believe that America was ever a force for good in the world, or that it ever stood genuinely for human liberty and equality. They look at it in the academy and increasingly on the left fringe of the Democratic Party, which is the leading edge.
That's all the time we have, Charles. Thank you for joining us. I wish we had more time. We'll talk again sometime soon. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr. We'll be back after this.
Ready to celebrate summer with a new car or truck? At Banks Chevrolet Buick GMC, we make it as easy as a day at the beach. With over 2,000 vehicles in stock and the lowest, most transparent pricing, you can see why Banks is New England's highest volume GM dealer. Enjoy the ease of summer with a friendly, no-pressure staff. With our full-service internet department, you can take care of the details before you even walk through the door. Right now, lease a 2018 GMC Sierra all-wheel drive double cab elevation edition for only $309 per month for 36 months. Current GM lessees take advantage of this great offer with up to $12,000 off or zero cash down. See dealer for details. Come see the difference at New England's highest volume GM dealer, Banks Chevrolet Buick GMC, just minutes away in Concord, New Hampshire. Check out all of this month's specials online at banksautos.com. GMC, we are professional grade. Real prices, huge inventory, always in stock.
And now it's time for Presidential Facts with Steve Robinson.
William Henry Harrison commissioned bottles of hard cider in the shape of log cabins as part of his presidential campaign. When James K. Polk was 17, he had surgery to remove gallstones without any anesthesia or antiseptic. Zachary Taylor died suddenly, and while the exact cause of his death is still disputed, some historians think it originated from eating cherries in iced milk. President Franklin Pierce, a Bowdoin guy, was arrested for running over an old woman with his horse. The charges were later dropped. Andrew Johnson was completely hammered at his vice presidential inauguration in 1865. Ulysses S. Grant once got a speeding ticket on his horse. He was fined $20. Rutherford B. Hayes signed the act that allowed women to plead cases before the Supreme Court, making it legal for women to practice in the court system. And they say Rutherford never did anything.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply. And, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic. And very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
This is the Howie Carr Show live from Chappaquiddick at the Party House. 25 years after Chappaquiddick 1969. On WHDH, News Talk 850.
Another bad song from 1969. 742-0850. We're going to take some calls this segment if you want to get on board. If you have any questions for John Farrar, the scuba diver who saw Mary Jo Kopechne's body underwater. The number again, 742-0850. We're going to start talking about the incident and everyone's perceptions. John, let me just get this straight. So now, as far as your belief is that while Ted Kennedy was walking past all these houses back towards the party house where we're broadcasting from now, Mary Jo was still alive.
That is correct.
And she would have been alive probably for about an hour, you think?
I think that's most reasonable, and if an hour, if not longer, that's correct.
If not.
Celebrating 25 years on the air, this is the Howie Carr Show.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson filling in for Howie Carr, the big man himself. He'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, we're joined by Jessica Vaughn from the Center for Immigration Studies. Jessica's a frequent guest. You guys know who she is. And the reason I wanted to have her on is both local and national. Locally here, there's an effort underway by some right-thinking Republicans to halt the sanctuary city legislation and also find a way to deal with this very bad Supreme Judicial Court precedent that's been set in an immigration case by a Cambodian guy by the name of Lun, which has basically made it impossible for any criminal illegal aliens to be deported from the Massachusetts. So, Jessica, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Good to be with you, Steve.
And so, Jessica, the other national issue, so that's the local issue, which we'll get into first, but the national issue is that there's, despite the fact that President Trump was elected president of the United States on a very hardline immigration platform, there are several Republican members of Congress who are trying to make a procedural maneuver in order to force a vote on a DACA bill to grant amnesty to the so-called Dreamers. And so they're trying to get a discharge petition.
And more.
Yes, exactly. What do they call it? The derivative amnesty. Is that what they're going to call it? Just like you have derivative asylee status. But anyways, so we'll get into that in a little bit. These rhino Republicans who are trying to go, basically they're such big rhinos that they're trying to do something on immigration that even Paul Ryan doesn't want. So they're trying to use this discharge petition to go over Paul Ryan's head and force a vote along with Democrats on a DACA bill, but we'll get into that in a moment. So first, Jessica, tell us what's going on here on Beacon Hill.
Well, it's budget time, which means it's can be kind of the silly season, and our legislature not being able to get anything done during the normal very long legislative session often resorts to the budget bills to get through things that they can't get through in other ways. And that prompted Senator Jamie Eldridge, the perennial sanctuary pusher, to put an amendment on the budget bill trying to impose an even more extreme sanctuary policy than the one imposed by the Supreme Judicial Court judges last year. So in response, and the governor has responded, trying to sort of split the difference in favor of sanctuaries and had a weak proposal on the same bill.
Charlie Baker had a weak proposal. I'm stunned, Jessica, that Charlie Baker did something that looked weak.
Yeah, that it's kind of, it's a bad, so it's not a solution. Yeah, it would, also allow a sanctuary policy to be enforced all over the state pretty much. Fortunately, the Republican senators have gotten together and led by Senator Ryan Fatman of Sutton, Massachusetts. He's decided that this can go on no longer, that it's time for the legislature to do what the voters of Massachusetts expect them to do, and that is to clarify that state and local law enforcement agencies are able to accept lawful warrants of arrests and holds on criminal aliens who are arrested in Massachusetts for other state and local crimes, and that they can hold them for ICE to pick them up and be deported so they don't flee like the Uber-driving illegal alien Ghanaian rapist, so they don't go on to kill people, as has happened here, and to, do the common sense thing and make it clear that criminal aliens in the Commonwealth are going to be turned over to ICE so that ICE can do their job. So he's introduced a proposal to do just that, and hopefully the more common sense members of the Senate will go along with this, and they'll get this on the budget bill. I don't think the budget bill is any place for this kind of important legislation to be done, but if they can't get out of their own way any other way, then I guess this is the way to do it in an urgent situation like this. I mean, we don't even know how many individuals released back to communities to prey on people who should have been sent back to their home country. Nationwide, it's more than 10,000.
Wow.
We know they go on to reoffend. At least half of them will go on to reoffend. And, we obviously can't count on judges in the Commonwealth to, hold people on bail.
Yeah, well, but
who've been arrested for rape or anything like that. So,
speaking of awful judges,
if they're non-citizens, yeah.
Jessica, did
so
you see
from the judges?
Did you see the Judge Timothy Feely in Salem District Court? He's just again, this guy's not an illegal immigrant, but his name was Manuel Solovatini, I think was his name, and he's got legal permanent status. He's from the Dominican Republic, and he's caught dealing heroin. And Judge Timothy Feely says that just probation for him, no jail time, because he was only selling heroin to make money.
Right, to feed his family, and therefore, since he's not a citizen, he gets special treatment, because if he were actually sentenced the way a citizen would be sentenced for selling opioids every single day of the week, then he might be deported, and we can't have that.
Exactly. If I was arrested by the Massachusetts State Police with a half ounce of heroin in my car in a little secret compartment, I'm pretty sure that I would be going to jail for a good long time. But anyways, Jessica Vaughn from the Center for Immigration Studies. Let's shift gears to this national effort right now. I think it's being led by Carlos Curbelo from Florida. I'm just going to read really quickly a list of people who, when I checked in earlier today, had signed this discharge petition. Jeff Denham from California, David Valadeo from California, Will Hurd from Texas, Mario Diaz-Balart from Florida, Mia Love from Utah, Ilana Ros-Lehitin from Florida, Charles Dent from Pennsylvania. I think he's retiring. Fred Upton from Michigan, David Reichert from Washington, Mike Kaufman from Colorado, Chris Collins of New York. He's actually a big Trump guy. John Faso from New York, Micah Modai from Nevada, Elise Stefanik from New York, Leonard Lance from New Jersey, Ryan Costello from Pennsylvania, Stephen Knight from California, John Katko from New York, David A. Trott from Michigan. These are all Republicans who have signed a discharge petition attempting to force the House of Representatives to vote on a provision that would grant amnesty to, it's like 800,000 children who were brought here illegally by their parents. Is that right, Jessica?
It's actually more people than that. The versions I've seen would go beyond it and could be as many as 2 million so-called dreamers. And, of course, when they get amnesty, so do their parents and, their extended family members through chain migration. But, yeah, let's start with 2 million.
So what the hell What the hell did these Republicans think they're doing trying to give amnesty to 2 million illegal immigrants? Basically getting in cahoots with Democrats to undermine the central plank of the Make America Great Again platform.
Well, that's exactly right. What are they thinking? They're deliberately trying to go around mainstream Republicans in the House and team up with Democrats to pass a bill that the American public really does not want and that would only inspire more illegal immigration and reward past illegal immigration. This way of making legislation is even crazier than trying to get something done on a budget bill.
Yeah.
It's called a discharge petition, and it means a minority group of Republicans teams up with the entire Democratic caucus. Nancy Pelosi is just like laughing her head off behind the scenes. And then this provision called Queen of the Hill, like who makes laws, named after children's games? I don't know. But it sets it up to so that the vote that the bill that gets the most votes would automatically win, regardless of whether it's a majority or anything. It's just the most votes win, and it's rigged to allow Paul Ryan to come in at the last minute to put forward his idea for a bill, which we all know what he would like to see is comprehensive immigration reform, a.k.a. mass amnesty, more guest workers in exchange for token border security measures that do not include a wall.
Yeah,
so they think we're stupid. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's obvious. It's obvious they think we're stupid. That they thank God we got President Trump in the White House. Hopefully, he would have the good sense to veto something like this if it even makes it through the Senate. I mean, what do you think are the prospects if this plot by the Rhino Republicans succeeds in the House of Representatives? Do you think it has any chance whatsoever of getting out of the Senate? I mean, will Mitch McConnell even allow this?
No. I can't imagine that even Mitch McConnell would go so far, although the Senate can be very scary because, in February, they almost passed a really horrible bill put forward by Susan Collins and her talking stick that would have done much the same thing. So, the Senate, is a wild card. Supposedly, the Senate would not have enough time on its calendar to consider this. But, the rules are what they make of them.
Yeah, and speaking of Maine politicians, Susan Collins might have been trying to do the wrong thing, but I did talk with Representative Bruce Poliquin earlier to see if he was part of this discharge petition nonsense, and he said no. He is a firm no against this discharge petition to force a vote on amnesty.
Yeah, this is craziness. I mean, liberals like to criticize the Hastert rule, but it really works. It makes sure that the House is able to stick together. There's power in unity, and that they do things that the mainstream members of the majority party want to see happen, which is a good proxy for what voters want to see happen.
And the Hastert rule says that they're not going to vote on anything that the majority of the majority want to vote on. It basically prevents this from happening. Yeah, exactly. It prevents weak, squishy Republicans from teaming up with Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats in order to do things that are in direct, contrast to what Republican voters want.
Right. And I think Kevin McCarthy, who wants to be the next speaker, actually might realize that this would be suicidal for his bid to become speaker, although Paul Ryan is still in control. And this just confirms my view that there's nothing more dangerous than a lame duck Speaker of the House. Yeah, no, you're right about that. Jessica Vaughn from the Center for Immigration Studies. Thanks for being with us tonight. I got one more question. When we were talking about the sanctuary bill that State Senator Fatman is trying to advance here to make it so that the state law enforcement can cooperate with federal immigration authorities, you said that the reason we're having this debate right now is because the state assembly hasn't been able to get some business done, and they're doing things at the last minute on this budget bill. Do you think that the lack of efficiency on Beacon Hill might be explained by all the energy they've had to spend investigating former state Senate President Stan Rosenberg and his pervy husband? Yeah, it may be that they want to talk about anything but that.
It very well could be. Well, Jessica, hey, thanks for letting us know about this, and thanks for being a guest on the show. We always appreciate it.
Good talking with you, Steve. Always a pleasure.
All right, thanks, Jessica. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back. If you want to give us a call at 844-500-4242. What do you make of these Rhino Republicans trying to pull a fast one on President Trump and all of his voters? It's sad, but predictable. This is Steve in for Howie. Back after this.
More Howie Carr Show with Steve Robinson after this.
Hey, I'm here with Ronnie from Get the Tea. It's spring. Spring has sprung. Ronnie, I know why you have to get the tea now, but you tell the people why.
Well, here's the deal. There is so much colon cancer going around, and if you just keep the intruders out and keep yourself cleansed, which the tea does, you could be living a better life.
What's your address, Ronnie? Your web address?
GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
GetTheTea.com. My listeners love GetTheTea.com, Ronnie. They're always looking for the new deal, the new special. What is the new special for May?
For your listeners, they're going to get free shipping, and they're going to get $6 off of their teas. Just punch in promo code Howie.
Tell them one more time. What's the special, and where do they go to get it, Ronnie?
Go to GetTheTea.com. This is the tea that makes you go. Go to GetTheTea.com. Just punch in promo code Howie.
GetTheTea.com. Thank you, Ronnie.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
In your pre-law enforcement career as a drug dealer, Trooper, what was your profit margin on that 100-plus pounds of standard-grade weed that you personally sold?
I was making at least $200 a pound.
But weren't you making a lot more selling the Primo stuff, high bud, the so-called hydroponic cannabis?
A lot more, $600 or $700.
As a drug dealer, you yourself were doing a lot of drugs, right? In addition to smoking marijuana, how often?
Basically every day. I use Xanax, Wellbutrin, possibly Vicodin. The Xanax I would take for sleep. Wellbutrin I would take for, depression.
What about when the G-men ask you about the dates of certain crimes that you committed?
See, I'm afraid to actually state dates because I don't want to get perjurized for something I don't recall correctly.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
When the captain's away, Steve and Grace will play. It's the Howie Carr Show.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson filling in for Howie Carr. He'll be back on Monday. He's gone. The poll question is not. Today's poll question is brought to you by Howie Carr's Father's Day special. Howie's offering a limited number of Father's Day VIP experiences. Just 100 of these will be available. Give this to your dad and he'll get to come watch the show. He'll get a set of Howie's books. He'll get a mug. He'll get a bobblehead. Grace and I will order pizza. It'll be a great gift if your dad loves Howie Carr. This is the ultimate Father's Day gift for the Howie Carr lover in your family.
We'll take selfies.
Oh, yes. There will be selfies. There will be selfies. Get it now at HowieCarrShow.com. And Grace, throughout this show, has promised that if somebody comes down here and wants to take her out to a steak dinner...
I have not promised. I said I'm open to the idea of it.
You're open to the... So if you can make a good enough pitch to Grace during the show and you're not creepy, then Grace will agree to accompany you on a steak dinner. Is that fair? Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say in life. If
you're not going to pass up a good steak.
I'm scared at how good you are at that and the fact that I never knew you could do that voice.
The Bill Clinton voice is pretty easy to do, to be honest. Anyways, that's the poll question sponsor. Go to HowieCarrShow.com. Just click the little Father's Day banner there so you can see it. It's a good idea, a great gift. And Grace and I, we might bring our dads in.
Yeah, my dad's the president of Howie Carr Nation.
He's not the president of Howie Carr Nation. This is fake news. Governor Paul LePage is the president of Howie Carr Nation.
This is very real news that my dad is the president.
You think this is some like Tin Pot Banana Republic where you can just claim that you're the heir to the throne? This is not the case.
I'm not the heir to the throne, but I am the daughter of the president.
You are not. You are not.
Agree to disagree.
What's the poll question, non-daughter of the president of Howie Carr Nation? And what are the results thus far?
Should the Mooch and Michael Avenatti
get a TV show.
No, it's a horrible idea. Although I do, you know what I would like? Maybe we'll have to cover this tomorrow because it's kind of late in the show today. I would like to use the text line to come up with potential names for a show with Avenatti and Scaramucci. And if you want to be a part of the texting club, text Howie, HOWIE, to 63566. And after that, you're in the text club, and you just continue to text that number without Howie, and we'll see your texts here in the studio. A couple of quick stories to get to. Sorry, Grace. What are the results? I did that thing Howie does.
87% of people say, no way.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they say, but they'd tune in. I don't want it to happen, but I'd probably watch.
But didn't you say that Michael Avenatti tweeted out that he has no interest in TV?
Yeah, Michael Avenatti, the guy who's been on CNN like 157 times in like the last, 24 hours, says he has no interest in TV. Yeah, okay, buddy. A couple of stories to get to before we close out tonight. So down in Rhode Island, U.S. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, he's one of these big climate change moonbats. He's got a primary challenger by the name of Lincoln Chafee. Lincoln Chafee, of course, the Republican turned independent turned Democrat who challenged Hillary Clinton in the primary. Any guess what his, what Lincoln Chafee's, the gap, Sheldon Whitehouse's lead over Lincoln Chafee is?
No idea.
58 points. Not a lot of enthusiasm in Rhode Island for Lincoln Chafee, but, rest assured, Link, that, I'm sure that 58-point deficit is shorter in the metric system. Cash-strapped DNC and DCCC pay Hillary Clinton's resistance group nearly $900,000 combined for list acquisitions. So the Democratic National Committee and the Congressional Campaign Committee has been story after story about how well the RNC is doing in terms of fundraising, really well, and not so much on the Democrat committees. They don't have a lot of money. They've got a lot of debt, and somehow they found $900,000 to give to Hillary Clinton. Grifters got a grift. That's all I'm saying. Hats off to Hillary Clinton for keeping the scam going. Pop goes a tradition. County cracks down on free popcorn in hardware stores. You ever been into a hardware store that offers free popcorn? It's great. It's wonderful.
That's my mom's favorite part.
Exactly. You go in there to get some duct tape or a saw or bungee cords or something like that, and you also get a bag of popcorn. Around San Diego, a halt, salty, buttered controversy has popped up. Should hardware stores offer free bags of freshly popped popcorn?
Well, that makes sense. They're in California. No, you can't offer it there. They probably get bums galore.
While that may look like a warm, welcoming treat, free popcorn is a threat to public health, so argue county officials. Last month, health inspectors raided La Jolla's Meanly & Son Hardware, warning that its old-fashioned red popcorn machine is a germy outlaw. Big government to the win, everybody. Love it. We'll be back tomorrow. This has been Steve Robinson filling in for Howie Carr.